Chapter 181. The One Who Escaped. Open black lens bracket close black lens bracket. War means breaking the illusion of peace and bringing destruction. But in the destruction, there are countless new births. After each war, any history, any country, will usher in a huge, baby boom. There are many reasons for this. For example, the war has led to a significant reduction in the population. The country or the village encourages the common people to have children. Also, people who have been fighting outside all year round can't wait to return to their wives after the war is over. At such a time, don't think about it, you know they will do something indescribable. Konoha is not out of this man-made natural phenomenon. In Konoha 48 years after the war with Iwagakure and Sunagakure villages ended, the baby boom broke out. The birth of Hyuga Neji was the first shot of the baby boom. Gongyi is one of the witnesses. After Neji, the major Konoha families who participated in the war also spread good news one after another. The Nara clan, the Akamichi clan, the Yamanaka clan, the Aburame clan, the Hyuga, and even Uchiha. If Gongyi is here, maybe he will be able to witness the crowing of the 12 Konoha boys in the future. And the most eye-catching, and the least eye-catching good news, when it comes from the fourth generation of Hokage, Namikaze Minato, 3220. Family, says he stands out because he's Hokage. His son, once born, will at least be like the third generation of sons, Sarutobi Asuma. From birth, he will be accompanied by the love and joy of countless people. Unobtrusive, it is Minato's wife, Uzumaki Kushina. Kushina's identity as the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, Jinchuriki, column force has been kept in high secrecy in the village. Few people know, and once the birth is when the pregnant woman is at its weakest, there will be a loophole in the seal of the human Jinchuriki column force. If someone messes with it, it is very likely that Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, will break the seal. Therefore, the closer the delivery period is, the more concentrated the protective force around Uzumaki Kushina. Konoha 48, October 9th, night. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who has not been seen for a long time, knocked on the door of the fourth generation of Hokage's house. Looking at Namikaze Minato, who was both happy and worried, Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled. It's all arranged, the place of production will be in a secret base outside the village. Until then, I will let the ninja cast a barrier to protect Kushina. Minato hesitated. Can't it be arranged in the village? The guards are stronger, and if the mother Kushina is in any condition, she can immediately send it to the Konoha hospital. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked solemnly at Namikaze Minato. You're Hokage now, you can make decisions. Namikaze Minato squeezed his hands tightly and took a deep breath. Just arrange it where you said. In the village, it is always unsafe. He said was unsafe, not just for Kushina, but for the thousands of villagers. If the production of Kushina goes wrong, Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, will break out. Then the village will be devastated. Now Namikaze Minato, who has learned to think in the position of Hokage, is no longer the simple hot-blooded young man. Who. Gongyi gasped sharply, and continued to absorb fresh air into his body. This is the first time he has faced death at such a close distance, and it is the first time he has experienced the excitement of being alive. Slowly raising his hand and placing it on his temple, Gongyi gently rubbed his head. On the line between life and death. He already understands why he failed. If you quantify Sage Art Chakra and turn it into a share, then this share will have 1/3 mental energy, 1/3 body energy, 3/1 part of the natural energy, fusion. But as long as a person who has studied basic mathematics, 3/3s are 3/3, although the theory is 1, but it is really equal to 1, and subdivided, 1/3 is equal to 0. 3. Until infinity, then multiplied by 3, it is only infinitely close to 1, not really equal to 1. If this is not clear enough, then pull 1 and turn it into a number of 100. 3 kinds of natural energies, in the same way, can only exist at most 33. Total is 99. It's 100 and 100. Where did the last one go? The corner of Gong Yi's mouth raised slightly. He has found where the last one is. Sitting cross-legged, hands spread out, fingers slightly drawn together. Closing his eyes, Gong Yi assumed the most familiar pose. Divine Refinement Technique. The Divine Refinement Technique that has been bothering Gong Yi for a long time, broke through to the 4th level in an instant. And 99 points of spiritual power also reached 100 in an instant. After reaching 100, a splendid crystal, the seed of consciousness, was born. He didn't pay attention to what special abilities the 4th layer divine art had brought to him. Gong Yi too, not to mention, began to practice sage art again. And this time, he is more confident than ever. White Snake Shinkiba watched that side cautiously. Until now, it is not sure whether it was dazzled by itself just now. Shinkiba watched more closely when Gong Yi began to absorb the natural energy again. It has to be confirmed that the situation before will not occur. A person's body, from annihilation, approaches nothingness, and then returns to its original state in an instant. What kind of great power is this in the world to create such a situation? It's just a pity that this time, it is destined to be disappointed. A drop of milky white chakra, exuding a dazzling but gentle light, slowly appeared in front of him. Feeling that kind of chakra that doesn't have any properties, but seems to contain all properties, White Shinkiba only feels warm and cool all over. This is a kind of spear and shield, the perfect fusion of existence. It seems that it should not appear in this world at all. The most perfect sage mode in history was born. Gong Yi exhaled and stood up. Feeling the drop of sage art chakra in his body, he was sure that even if Senju Hashirama was here, his sage art would not be weaker than him. Even Gong Yi felt that his sage art was still faintly above the source Ashura, chasing the 6 paths immortal. Of course, he won't be compared to the 6 paths fairy. Because he knows that the 6 paths immortal has another identity. 10 tails person Jinchuriki column force. After moving his hands and feet, Gong Yi's face walked towards the white snake Shinkiba with a smile. What are you going to do? Shinkiba looked at Gong Yi warily. The danger emanating from this human body was even more intense than when he first arrived. Gong Yi pointed to the forest behind him, and then pointed to Raichi Cave. There is too little natural energy here, which is not good for me to condense sage art chakra. I need to enter Raichi Cave to practice. White Snake Shinkiba shook his head and waved his tail. Human chakra is limited. After you extract enough sage art chakra, your body energy and spiritual energy will also be depleted for a short time. Recovering while extracting, outside is enough. Gong Yi doesn't just ignore it and walk straight into Raichi Cave. His sage art practice, he knew that he didn't need to care about the white snake Shinkiba's thoughts at all. Even the white snake immortal, he doesn't care. That fat house snake actually doesn't care about the son of prophecy at all. It's not as zealous as the toads of Mount Myoboku. It just wants to sit in the cool Raichi Cave every day, sleep, smoke, admire its own jewelry, and occasionally test a few young people to practice sage art. Such a simple and happy fat house life. Looking for a place with natural energy and incomparable richness, Gong Yi directly began to extract sage art chakra. The worry of the white snake Shinkiba is completely useless. Because in the diamond mark on Gong Yi's forehead, the chakra that he has accumulated for a long time is sealed. Once chakra is not used, it will be decomposed into pure physical energy and spiritual energy in the body. In other words, he can extract enough chakra to transform into sage mode almost effortlessly. A day later, Gong Yi suddenly got up and stepped out of Raichi Cave. Minato, the baby is kicking my stomach. Uzumaki Kushina gently touched her belly and put Minato's hand on her belly. Kushina, who used to be lively, even with some yuhi peppers, after marrying Minato, gradually became 6 Be gentle. Especially when she is pregnant, she speaks softly. A strong maternal radiance radiated from her face. Namikaze Minato stroked his wife's belly, and the joy of being a father filled his face. The little guy seems to be getting more and more lively. Yes, our baby will definitely be a baby who is more handsome than his father and can do things better than his mother. Minato scratched Kushina's nose affectionately. Why do you say that? Naruto will be obedient in the future, and he won't like pranks like you do. Kushina raised her head and blinked her eyes. Be lively and active, and your body will be healthy, isn't it? Haha, yes. Then our little Naruto will definitely be the troublemaker of Konoha village in the future. Namikaze Minato laughed and seemed to have seen that scene. Ouch. What's wrong? Kushina said uncertainly. The baby kicks me more and more these days. Is it about to give birth? It should be. Namikaze Minato murmured, looking either happy or worried. Chapter 182. QB 9 Tales Now. Konoha 48 years, October 10th. Sakurai Ariyi rubbed her swollen forehead and left the Konoha hospital a little tired. More and more mothers have been sent to the village. It is better for female medical ninjas to do things like nursing mothers. If it's normal, she can give a few words to go down. But this time is a little different. There are several sent here, all of them are the patriarchs of big families and the wives of elders. Other words, those pregnant women may be pregnant with the young patriarch of a certain family in the future. She couldn't handle it casually, so she had to check the situation every day without interruption. If only Dean Gongyi was here. Wei Li murmured twice, and turned her attention to the lively shops next to the street. Selling clothes, jewelry, and more delicious food. Swallowing her saliva, Eri, who had been tired all day, was thinking about what she would eat later. Sushi, grilled meat, sashimi, fried fish, ramen or beef hot pot. She thought of Director Gongyi again. Occasionally, Director Gongyi would bring her own lunch to the hospital, and she ate it twice. That kind of taste, very delicious, and different from the shop outside. Just when she was contradicting, two ninjas suddenly appeared in front of her. Ariki Sakurai, Hokage-sama, please. Yuli blinked, as if realizing something. During these days, she has done several maternity body care to Lord Hokage's wife in private. According to time, it should be tonight. A man wearing a Yuhi cloud cloak turned around, and the eyes under the spiral pattern mask stared at the man in front of him. Ghost Shark, are you sure you want to go with me? Kisame Hoshigaki pursed her lips tightly, her stubborn face showing no signs of flinching. I want to see that man again. Dark Blue Devil. Masked man chuckled, and a face slowly appeared in his heart. Seems to be the indifference and pride of youth, but also the calm scheduling of war. For that man should be when he knocked Cascage to the dust in the sky. But for the masked man, his impression of Gongyi finally stayed in the taciturn figure in black robe. Also, after so many years of practice, plus the various sleet and water-style ninjutsu from Kurigakure village, your strength is not what it used to be. After the QB 9 Tails project starts, I will be in charge of Yellow Flash, and you will be in charge of holding down the Dark Blue Demon. As for Konoha, to QB 9 Tails. The moon is infinitely close to being round, and Namikaze Minato's heart is lifted almost to his throat. In the house, hoarse screams were constantly heard. If Gongyi was here, that would be great. Minato circled around the house anxiously. Kushina's pained voices kept coming in their ears, as if their baby was also making trouble at birth. Wow! A loud cry of a baby came from inside the house. Minato's face was overjoyed, and he was almost happier when he became a father than when he became a Hokage. Impatiently pushing the room away, Minato rushed in. Kushina. Minato, our child. Kushina murmured extremely weakly, her eyes fixed on the crystal she had conceived for a long time. Lord Hokage, he is a very healthy boy. Eri Sakurai said with a big smile while wiping Naruto's body. At this time, even if she was tired, she felt it was worth it. It was a great honor for her to deliver Lord Hokage's son. Minato glanced at his son, walked over to Kushina, and took her hand. Good work, Kushina. It's not hard. Suddenly, the enchantment moved, and an abnormal void tremor occurred in the room. Namikaze Minato's face changed greatly, and he turned back quickly. His son has been caught by a mysterious man wearing a yellow swirl mask. Not only that, several female ninjas around, including Ariyi, also fell down one by one, their expressions scattered. Demonic illusion. The very clever demonic illusion brought down everyone present almost in an instant. Who are you? Drop my child. Namikaze Minato was furious. The joy of being a first-time father turned into an instant, extremely angry. The masked man picked up the baby in his hand, ignoring the louder and louder crying, and said lightly, "Leave the person Jinchuriki column force, otherwise, he will die." Namikaze Minato squeezed his wife's hand, gave her a wink, and stepped back slowly. Right at this moment, Naruto was thrown directly into the other direction of the room by the masked man. Namikaze Minato came to Naruto in an instant. When he wanted to return to Kushina with Hiraishin, he suddenly found that there was a detonating talisman on his son's back. What a ruthless means. Namikaze Minato bites Kiba, hugs Naruto and leaves the house in an instant, unveiling the detonating talisman and throwing it aside. It's too late to go after the masked man at this time, so let's arrange Naruto first. After he arranged for Naruto, he hurried away according to the Hiraishin magic mark he left on Kushina. That everything seems to be too late. The black Yuhi-colored Uzumaki appeared in a flash, and the masked man pressed his hand on Kushina's abdomen. The once tight seal has cracked. Seal. Open. Demonic illusion. Spiritism. Roar. ... Itachi, we are going to enter the ninja school soon, are you looking forward to it? A cute girl, blinking her beautiful eyes, looked at the boy of the same age who was carved in pink and jade in front of her. The boy gave her a gentle smile. It's okay. Actually, I really want to go to school with Big Brother Shisui, but Big Brother Shisui graduated early. Girl swayed her feet and asked happily, Shisui, is that the genius in our family? You know him. Brother Shisui and I are very good friends, he taught me a lot. Uchiha Itachi smiled, then waved his hand. Izumi Beauty, don't talk anymore, I'll go home first. My mother gave birth to a baby, and it's inconvenient to do things at ordinary times, so I have to go back to take care of her. Watching Uchiha Itachi run towards the house, Izumi put her hands on her chin. Itachi is such a gentle and reliable person. She jumped down the steps to find her father, Uchiha Hazuki. Just took a step and stopped. Earth, trembling, Konoha night, always so calm and peaceful. The rich village has many shops even at night. After dinner, the villagers will go out for a walk, take a walk, and some young lovers will go out to eat together. Occasionally mention some pleasant things, everyone will laugh happily. It's just that when the round moon is covered by the overwhelming orangutan Yuhi, it is no longer so peaceful. Roar! A huge voice resounded in the middle of the village. Under the full moon, a huge body, waving two claws, with a slight flick, is a piece of building destruction. Behind it, 9 fire Yuhi-colored tails danced wildly. Wherever they passed, houses were destroyed and people died. The villagers stared blankly at this scene, and then let out a piercing cry. Monster. 9 tails. QB 9 tails fox. Father. Mom, sister, where are you? Ah, who will save me? QB 9 tails QB 9 tails go and report to Lord Hokage. Where is Lord Hokage? Save us. Chapter 183. Senpo, Sage Art. Sarutobi Hiruzen watched this scene with dismay. He had worked so hard to manage Konoha all his life. So wanton spoiled by that tailed beast. The ground was shaking, the houses were collapsing constantly, and the villagers' screams were endless. The ape demon appeared beside him, Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen shouted at a group of ninjas around him. Order the Jonin in the village to organize the evacuation of the crowd and take refuge in the back mountain. All Chunin are responsible for maintaining order and are not allowed to approach Kyubi, Nine Tails. The other Jonins, as well as the Anbu ninjas, and the security squad, all come with me. The words fell. Sarutobi Hiruzen ripped off the robe behind him and rushed directly to the huge Kyubi, Nine Tails. Even if it's the legendary Kyubi, Nine Tails, I can't spoil my life's efforts like this. Behind him, countless ninjas followed one after another. Phew, Gong Yi looked at the monster under the moon with a solemn expression. Are you late? No, it's not too late. The 8 inner gates are on. Sage mode is on. A white figure suddenly leapt into the sky and charged towards the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen resisted with difficulty. All kinds of ninjutsu, not life, hit Kyubi, Nine Tails. However, this move will only make Kyubi, Nine Tails, furious earlier. He looked at Kyubi, Nine Tails, angrily, especially in Kyubi, Nine Tails' pupils, paying attention for a long time. Sharingan. Can control Kyubi, Nine Tails. Is it because the legendary Uchiha Madara can't fight against Kyubi, Nine Tails, like this? It will only make the village suffer even more destruction. Sarutobi Hiruzen bites Kiba, hands fast hand seal. Doden, earth style, swamp of the underworld. Doden, earth style, earth flow river. Ape demon, resist Kyubi, Nine Tails, follow me, shove it to the village outside. The ape demon patted his chest and rushed forward with the incorrupt body of the ape family. However, Kyubi, Nine Tails, swept across with one paw, sending the ape demon flying away. Hiruzen, this won't work. I've become a King Kong Ruibang, let's cooperate with you. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Kyubi, Nine Tails, who was besieging ninjas with ease even though he was confined to swamp of the underworld, and he took a deep breath. Quick! The ape demon jumped into a change, and a huge stick appeared in an instant. Sarutobi Hiruzen held the Vajra Rui stick against Kyubi, Nine Tails, and pushed it out of the village alive. The two seemed to be in a wrestling fight. With the joint efforts of Sarutobi Hiruzen and the ape demon, Kyubi, Nine Tails, was slowly pushed abruptly. Wherever he passed, a huge ravine formed on the ground. Only in this way, Sarutobi Hiruzen's chakra consumption is also increasing. Damn, the village limits my performance. Competing with the tailed beast for the amount of chakra, I will not be able to hold on sooner or later. Exclamation mark quote. Just when Sarutobi Hiruzen was anxious, a white figure appeared in front of him instantly. 3 generations of adults, then leave it to me, you are. Gong Yi smiled slightly, made a move with his right hand, pulled the ball, and spun frantically. Just a moment, a terrifying and incomparably huge chakra ball condensed in his hand. Senpo, Sage Art Super Big Ball Rasengan. Demonstrating the teleportation technique, at this moment, his speed is definitely no less than Namikaze Minato. In the blink of an eye, the white figure has already rushed to Kyubi, Nine Tails. A huge chakra ball smashed into Kyubi, Nine Tails' face. Kyubi, Nine Tails, who was still wrestling with Sarutobi Hiruzen and the ape demon, was instantly shot and flew directly outside the village. Roar! Kyubi, Nine Tails, stood up frantically, Nine Tails, dancing wildly, and charged towards the village again. Never let it enter the village. Shout out to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Gong Yi rushed to the front of the village in an instant, stood on the gate of Konoha, hand seal with one hand and put it on his lips. Senpo, Sage Art Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation. Under the blessing of Sage Art Chakra, the Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation with a wide range has become a sea of fire in a real sense at this moment. Boom! The boundless fire reflects this night. No matter what. The villagers and the Konoha villagers who took refuge in the back mountain, the ninjas, saw them all, their eyes widened. Sarutobi Asuma slapped the walls of the refuge cave unwillingly, and yelled at the people around him, "Why don't you let us go out, the village is being devastated." A Jonin looked at him coldly, "This is the order of the 3 generations of adults, you Chunin, are the future of the village, and there must be no damage. Might Guy rushed forward. I'm fast. I'm sure I won't be hit by that monster. Let me help you save people together. No, you have to stay here. Just when they asked for orders to fight, the crowd that was coming in an endless stream stopped abruptly. Everyone stared blankly at the sea of fire in the distance. The dazzling fire of Yuhi, a white figure stands in front of the huge Kyubi, Nine-Tails demon fox. Powerful ninjutsu continued to blast. Who is that? That white figure, what kind of strong man in the village is he? He's so strong, he actually blocked the Kyubi, Nine-Tails fox from the village. Asuma pushed his way through the crowd and wiped his eyes. Might Guy stood beside him, mouth open. Why does that person's back look like Captain Gong Yi? ... Senpo, sage art rips the earth and turns palms. Senpo, sage art falls from the sky. Senpo, sage art dragon flame release song jutsu. Gong Yi calmly releases ninjutsu, his fighting wisdom is the strongest of his peers. Turning palms to shatter the earth, meteorites fall from the sky to suppress Kyubi, Nine-Tails. The dragons created by Dragon Flame Release Song Jutsu continue to wrap around the body of the tailed beast, frantically burning and destroying the endless chakra. Especially under the blessing of Sage Art Chakra, all these ninjutsu, the power is multiplied. No need to concentrate on practice, familiar with Master Sage Mode. Combat is the best way to speed up your Sage Mode proficiency. Kyubi, Nine-Tails, keeps roaring, frizzy on his beautiful Yuhi fur. It was extremely angry now, and was beaten by a human being forcibly. It's all that damn Sharingan, ah. If Sharingan hadn't suppressed my power, I would have slapped this human to death. He couldn't help it, opened his mouth wide, and a black ball kept accumulating. Tailed Beast Bomb. The direction opposite is the white figure standing in front of Konoha village. Sarutobi Hiruzen has already caught up, and hastily reminded, that is the strongest attack ninjutsu of the tail beast, and it can destroy the country and the village in one go. Don't let it. Gong Yi took a deep breath, he didn't know if he could stop Tailed Beast Bomb. But now, before Namikaze Minato returns, he has to block it. Endless dazzling golden light bloomed from him. The blessing of the White Sage Mode, its light seems to be enough to tear the sky, the earth, and even the ocean. A golden light turns into a sword. Another golden light turns into a sword. The endless golden light is reduced crazily, just in the blink of an eye, it forms a row after row of long swords, neatly displayed in front of Gong Yi. A total of 99 long swords. This is what Gong Yi can do after extracting all the chakras from his body. Tails rushed the ball out of his mouth. Senpo, Sage Art Jin Dungeon River. Roar. Kyubi, Nine-Tails, suddenly spit out, and the tailed beast bomb condensed and formed, and went straight to the white figure. The black ball is in a posture of destroying everything. Wherever it passes, the air disappears, and the void trembles. The golden river of swords is mighty and inexhaustible, and it has the momentum to smash all things in the world. The two collided in an instant. Boom, 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 boom. Philo reminds you. 3 things to read and collect. Push the latest chapter. Baidu search 99 playmates. Find 99 novels and LT. Chapter 184. There is a divine tree between heaven and earth, once incarnated as 10 tails. The 6 paths immortal took out its chakra and divided it into 9. So far, there have been 9 big-tailed beasts in the world. Because it is made of chakra, the tailed beast can be said to be immortal. Even if the body is scattered by someone and disappears between heaven and earth, when the time comes, it will be reborn again. Among these 9-tailed beasts, Kyubi, Nine-Tails, is the most powerful. From the beginning of its birth, only 2 people can suppress him. One is Sharingan by Uchiha Madara, and the other is Mokuden, Wood Style, by Senju Hashirama. And today, a young man, with his own Kekkei Genkai and Senpo, Sage Art, took on its ultimate ninjutsu, Tailed Beast Bomb. Boom! The last roar sounded, and the earth returned to peace. The black ball and the golden river of sword, in constant collision and obstruction, eventually perished together. Gong Yi slowly landed on the ground, and the white light on his body faded instantly. Sage mode, the duration is up. Gong Yi sighed. Unfortunately, if you give me a little more time to accumulate enough sage art chakras. And this body doesn't seem to be in perfect condition yet. Sarutobi Hiruzen stepped forward in surprise. Tailed Beast Bomb was actually blocked. Looking at this handsome man in front of him, like a fairy in the sky, a strange and familiar feeling came to my heart. You are Gong Yi. Just when Gong Yi was about to answer, Kyubi Ninetails, who was calm before, screamed in the sky. Konoha, Uchiha, I'm going to destroy you. In its huge eyes, the Sharingan's mark has disappeared. What this means is that Gong Yi's face has changed drastically. Namikaze Minato should have defeated Uchiha Obito, and the demonic illusion that Sharingan put on Kyubi Ninetails has also cleared 320 losses. Without the suppression of Sharingan, the power of the Tail Beast will be even stronger. And the Tail Beast is not like him, the chakra will run out. Almost as long as the Tailed Beast is given a little time, it can return to its peak state. From the previous battle, although Kyubi Ninetails was pressed and beaten by himself for a time, from beginning to end, Kyubi Ninetails was not in a dangerous situation. Its chakras are even more abundant. Tailed Beast Bomb. A purple-black sphere slowly emerges, and the power of destruction contained in it is even more powerful than before. Kyubi Ninetails destroys Konoha's heart and is extremely firm. Gong Yi shook his head at Sandai with a wry smile. I am sorry, I've tried my best. Sandai took a deep breath, nodded to him, bit Kiba and stood in front of Gong Yi. Now, it's time for him to block this blow for the village. Just at this moment, a golden light flashed in front of Gong Yi and the others. Gong Yi, you've done enough. Next, leave it to me. Namikaze Minato smiled slightly, his face instantly changed, solemn. Tailed Beast Bomb that has rushed over, hand seal quickly with both hands. Hiraishin Guiding Thunder. A barrier suddenly opened, covering the Tailed Beast Bomb. Namikaze Minato is constantly releasing chakra. Feeling the attacking power of Tailed Beast Bomb, that feeling is not wrong. It is the same as the Rasengan taught by Gong Yi to himself. His face was excited, and he tightly closed the enchantment. Go! The purple-black sphere suddenly disappeared. And in the mountains thousands of miles away from Konoha, there was an explosion that shook the world. The fourth generation of Hokage actually transferred Tailed Beast Bomb out of thin air. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked overjoyed. The three of us have every chance to break up Kyubi Ninetails and save the village. Namikaze Minato shook his head with a miserable smile. I'm afraid it won't work. I want to seal it up. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly thought of something and looked hesitant. 3 generations of adults, it's your church, think about things from the perspective of Hokage. Once the Kyubi Ninetails are scattered, the village will have no tailed beasts to deter him. And sooner or later, they will be beaten up. We cannot destroy it, we can only seal it into the new Jinchuriki column force. But people Jinchuriki column force. I've made up my mind. Namikaze Minato looked at Gong Yi and Sarutobi Hiruzen and smiled softly. I'm going. Besides, Gong Yi, your sage mode is very handsome. Gong Yi doesn't know what kind of mood Minato is in, at such a time. He said something sarcastic. He knew was that Kyubi Ninetails, who had been wreaking havoc before, had disappeared outside the village of Konoha. Countless fighting ninjas looked at the empty land and wiped their eyes. Kyubi Ninetails gone. 4th generation Hokage, Sama, took Kyubi Ninetails away. The village is safe. Long live the 4th generation. Only Gong Yi and Sarutobi Hiruzen know that it's not over yet. Find out where Minato went. Sarutobi Hiruzen gave the order, and countless ninjas scattered. Gong Yi raised his head, looked at the gradually sinking moon, and pursed his lips. Mr. Madara, your side is over. Kisame Hoshigaki looked carefully at the mysterious masked man. The masked man pointed to Konoha, who was in a panic. It worked. He didn't say anything about success, but judging from his previous ability to control Kyubi, Ninetales, the trip meant success. Just thinking of the previous battle with his teacher, Obito looked complicated under the mask. But for a moment, those emotions that shouldn't be there were all forgotten. Once down this road, there is no turning back. He turned his face and looked at Kisame Hoshigaki with one eye. You didn't come out to deal with the dark blue demon as you said before. Ghost Shark frowned, because he didn't show up. Oh yeah. Masked Man smiled mockingly, and by controlling Kyubi, Ninetales, he had already recognized the white figure. He has appeared, the man who confronted Kyubi, Ninetales, head-on. Ghost Shark's expression changed greatly. Is that person a dark blue demon? He turned out to be so powerful that he can even compete with the tailed beast. Forget it. Next time. We still have many opportunities to face Konoha in the future. Masked Man grabbed the Ghost Shark's body, the black Yuhi-colored void Uzumaki appeared, and the two disappeared instantly. Is that Minato's child? Across the barrier, Gong Yi murmured as he looked at the fragile life. Who was born not long ago. Under the search of countless ninjas, they finally found Namikaze Minato in a certain forest in the Land of Fire. In fact, the search time is not long, because the energy fluctuations of Kyubi, Ninetales, are too conspicuous. A ninja tried to rush into the barrier, but was pulled by a dignified Sarutobi Hiruzen. Don't move, this barrier is connected to Minato. Once the barrier is broken, it will affect the caster. After speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the Minato family inside. When he saw Minato hand seal, his face changed suddenly and he blurted out. The ghouls are sealed. Gong Yi's pupils shrank too, and even subconsciously glanced at the old man beside him. Can call out the name of the ghoul, then at least Sarutobi Hiruzen has seen or learned it. Especially after his battle with Orochimaru, he even used the ghoul seal, and the result was obvious. Inside the adamantine sealing chains barrier, Minato suddenly drank. The ghouls were sealed. The huge body of Kyubi, Ninetales, began to tremble wildly, and then split into two parts under the slash of death. Part of it, the Yin Kyubi, Ninetales, was sealed directly into Minato's body. The rest is. The 8 trigrams are sealed. Minato endured the pain and looked at Naruto with a smile. Kushina said weakly, do you really want to let the child carry that heavy responsibility? His life should not start from birth. After quietly listening to his wife's words, Minato stroked her Yuhi-colored hair. We have to believe in Naruto. And if there is no tailed beast in the village, there is not enough power to deter other villages. Kushina, you should understand what a child would be like without a carefree environment for him to grow up. Kushina was silent, then hummed. Husband and wife come to an agreement, but Kyubi, Ninetales, realizes what's going to happen next. Kill the child in front of you, you will not be sealed. With just a poke, this fragile newborn will die. The huge fox finger stabs it in an instant. That before they could poke, the Minato and his wife were already blocking the front. Kushina spat out a mouthful of blood, used the little chakra left, and slammed it abruptly. King Kong chains. Ah, damn. Kyubi, Ninetales, roared. Minato smiled miserably. The 8 trigram seal suddenly activated, and the remaining young Kyubi, Ninetales, was slowly sealed into Naruto's body. Kushina, I will keep a part of my chakra in Naruto. If you have something to say to your child, just say it now. With blood and a gentle smile in the corners of Kushina's mouth, she affectionately said something that only mothers and children would say. If this doesn't happen, perhaps these words should have been said by Naruto when she was sleeping. It's just a pity that as a first-time mother, this is the first and will be the last time for her to say such things. Naruto, whatever. It's delicious or not, don't be picky eaters, you must eat more, so that you can grow strong. Have a bath every day, go to bed early, but don't stay up late. Remember to make friends, how many? It doesn't matter, as long as you can make real friends. Naruto, you may encounter many difficulties in the future. You will bear a lot of pain, but you must believe in yourself, clarify your goals and dreams, move forward bravely, and never give up until the end. Actually, I still have. And there are still many things I want to tell you. I want to be by your side all the time. Mom loves you. Chapter 185. I am here. In the quiet and solemn forest, 2 corpses lay there, and a baby was dazed and innocent in blood. Suddenly, wow, Naruto started crying. I don't know if it was because I was hungry, or because I felt the loss of my relatives. The little baby started to cry. A group of fighting ninjas looked at each other. They couldn't believe it until now. Their 4 generations of Hokage are dead. Once upon a time, across the battlefield, coming and going freely, in countless dangerous missions, Yellow Flash, who returned victoriously, died. That shocked the villages, and even let the major ninja villages go out to see the man who Yellow Flash can give up the task without responsibility, dies. Then his child, or, in other words, has become the child of Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Column Force. What to do with Sarutobi Hiruzen? Pondering, Gong Yi has already stepped. In the eyes of everyone, in Hiruzen's surprised eyes, Gong Yi came to Naruto. Reluctantly pursing his lips into a smile, Gong Yi carefully picked Naruto up. He has delivered many children at Konoha Hospital, and before leaving, delivered Hyuga Neji. Is very familiar with holding children. Holding the baby in his arms, Gong Yi shook it slightly. Perhaps it was because he once merged with the power of nature, or perhaps it was the deliberate comfort of his spiritual power, and Naruto soon stopped crying and fell asleep peacefully. Turning around, Gong Yi looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. 3 generations of adults, now there are no leaders in the village. I can only trouble you and come out to preside over the overall situation again. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath and looked around. Today he took the lead in fighting Kyuubi, Nine-Tails before Gong Yi arrived. As a ninja who fought together, everyone can accept him. His hand, Sarutobi Hiruzen said heavily, no one should tell anyone what happened today. The true identity of the child must also be concealed. If you let me know who disclosed this information, I will definitely kill you. All the ninjas bowed their heads and stopped looking at the child. In this way, they expressed their determination. There was the sound of a foot stepping on a dead leaf, and when I looked up, Danzo appeared in the middle of the field. Hiruzen, this child, leave it to the root. Sarutobi Hiruzen snorted coldly, Danzo, don't hit the child, he is the descendant of Minato. Minato died for the village. I can't hand him over to you. Shimura. Danzo shook his head. His identity is not as simple as the son of 4 generations. He's even more of the village's Jinchuriki. Column Force. For a long time, the seal of the tailed beast started when the human Jinchuriki. Column Force candidate had grown almost physically and had a healthy mind. Only in this way will it not be affected by the furious emotions of the tailed beast. Leaving the child to live in the village will only do great harm to Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated. Danzo is right, and it's true. A baby control the tailed beast. If Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, breaks out again, then the village, I am here. The young man said lightly, stepped forward, and a powerful aura erupted. Shimura. Danzo took a step back subconsciously, seeing Gong Yi and Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, fighting in secret. Powerful strength. To suppress Ju in a short period of time is simply incredible. Even if Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, comes out again, I will not let it hurt the village. And Gong Yi lowered his head and looked at his baby sleeping peacefully with a hint of tenderness in his eyes. Minato has fought side by side with me several times, and his children are destined to live in the bright sun. The roots are not his home. After speaking, he ignored everyone present, hugged the child, and turned away. Shimura. Danzo was furious. You. Kang. A golden long sword slid between him and Gong Yi. Distance, trembling constantly, and it seemed that the next moment, they would be slashed out with a thunderous force. Danzo withdrew his steps with a gloomy face. He was afraid in the end. Sarutobi Hiruzen watched this scene, although he felt that Gongyi did not handle it properly, but at this moment, it is better not to pursue it. After finishing the affairs of the village, he will talk to Gongyi in detail. The funeral of the fourth generation of Hokage was carried out in the continuous rain. The whole village was filled with a heavy atmosphere of sadness. The rebellion of Kyubi, Ninetales, took away not only their young 4 generations of Hokage, but also countless of their relatives. Standing in front of the vast cemetery, looking at the newly added names on the memorial tablet, everyone felt heavy in their hearts. Gongyi was among them, standing at the front of the crowd. The face that was once shrouded under the black robe, once again appeared in front of everyone. He has changed, not as youthful as before, but a little more mature. Looking at his back, many people felt more at ease. The fourth generation of Hokage is gone, but the village still has the headmaster Gongyi, one of the 2 heroes of Konoha, in the village. Moreover, Dean Gongyi is as strong as ever, and he suppressed Kyubi, Ninetales, head-on. His strength is comparable to that of the 4 generations of Hokage who sealed Kyubi, Ninetales, and ended this disaster. Just that when they saw the child behind Gongyi, a woman was holding a child in her arms, their unforgettable hatred could not be suppressed. That child is the new Kyubi, Ninetales, person Jinchuriki, column force. It is also the Kyubi, Ninetales, within him that made the village suffer such a heavy price and took away their loved ones. It's just hatred, but no one dares to do anything. Just because Gongyi was standing in front of that woman, that child. Feeling the complicated gazes behind him, Gongyi sighed. If they knew that this child is a descendant of Minato, how would they treat Naruto? It's just that he can't explain it, because it's the best way to protect Naruto. If Naruto inherits the surname of Namikaze Minato and is known to outsiders as the son of the 4th Hokage, he will suffer more danger. Over the years, Namikaze Minato has performed so many missions, killing 3,000 ninjas in the Battle of Shinwu Kunchao alone. God knows how many enemies of Minato will be. Stepping forward, offering flowers, Gongyi looked at the silent old Sarutobi Hiruzen. In front of the grave behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, there are rows and rows of Sarutobi people's names. The Kyubi, Ninetales, upheaval took more than just other people's relatives. Also took away a group of 3 generations of Hokage's clansmen. Nodding to Sarutobi Hiruzen, Gongyi turned and left. Behind him, Sakurai Ariyi hugged the child and followed him closely. The sad funeral was held. Sarutobi Hiruzen once again became the Hokage under the joint recommendation of the major Konoha families, advisors, and elders. After Sarutobi Hiruzen took office, he quickly made 3 orders. And 1. Rebuild the village. And 2. The statue work of the 4th generation Hokage, continue. And 3. It is announced that Konoha has resealed Kyubi, Ninetales got a new man Jinchuriki, column force. 4. These 3 orders, no one objected. The first point is that it is a matter of course, even if he does not order it, the villagers will do it spontaneously. The second point is the recognition of the villagers. Although Namikaze Minato's reign was short, the merits of his life cannot be erased. Even at the last moment of life, Kyubi, Ninetales, was sealed and the village was saved. As for the third point, it is more political. The Kyubi, Ninetales, upheaval cannot be concealed, and the major ninja villages will definitely know about it through their respective news channels. At this time, news is released that Konoha has a new Kyubi, Ninetales person Jinchuriki, column power, which can deter some villages coveted. If you don't do this, others will think that your Konoha has no tailed beast and still occupies such a rich resource condition, then it will definitely come to you. Even if it did, Konoha had to prepare for war. All things are in the passage of time, slowly. And Sarutobi Hiruzen finally found time to find Gongyi. This child cannot be brought up by you. Chapter 186. Mangekyo Sharingan. Wei Li, you go out first. Gongyi said lightly, Sakurai Ariyi looked at Gong Yi worriedly, turned around and took the door to leave. Gaze and cast it on Sarutobi Hiruzen. This man, the old man Madara, has already passed out on his face. In the Third World War, there were heavy casualties. Disciples left the village one after another, and the fourth-generation Hokage, who was optimistic about it, also died at a young age, and even his close family members were also killed in the defense of Konoha. Hard to imagine, after suffering such a big blow, in what state he continues to sit in the Hokage position. In a calm and orderly manner, work on time every day, and schedule things big and small in the village. Gong Yi can also understand the meaning of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Just like Gong Yi wants to stop Danzo and protect Naruto, Gong Yi uses the son of the fourth generation, and he is a comrade in arms before the fourth generation. Naruto's heavier identity is the Jinchuriki column force of Kyuubi, 9 tails. This is the biggest guarantee of a village. He can only be mastered by the shadow of a village. This is the case in all the major ninja villages. Without going against the decision of the 3 generations of Hokage, Gong Yi nodded in agreement. I will not be Naruto's guardian. Hearing Gong Yi's promise, Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief. Gong Yi's strength has been fully demonstrated in the Kyuubi 9 Tails Rebellion. Not only has he mastered powerful taijutsu, medical ninjutsu, and even the mysterious Kekkei Genkei, he has also successfully acquired sage art during the few months of traveling. Such a strong existence, if not younger. This time, many people will definitely stand up and choose him as the 5th generation of Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want to get into trouble with Gong Yi either, so he came to Konoha Hospital in person today to discuss with Gong Yi in a friendly way. It would be great if you could agree. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, next, I will arrange a suitable identity for Naruto, and he will inherit the surname of his mother's Uzumaki family. So, it is a reasonable explanation why he can become a human Jinchuriki column force. The Kyuubi 9 Tails people of Konoha, Jinchuriki column power, have gone through 3 terms. The first is Uzumaki Mito, the second is Uzumaki Kushina, and the third should also be a person surnamed Uzumaki. Only the powerful physique of the Uzumaki family and the abundant chakra can seal Kyuubi 9 Tails. Gong Yi pursed his lips and made a request. The identity of Naruto can be arranged by you. But Eri must be in charge of his life. Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated, and he glanced out the door subconsciously. Gentle woman who left before was Aili, he recognized it. Okay, Eri is a careful person. She also has good medical ninjutsu, let her take care of Naruto's life, I agree. Also. Gong Yi stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen, restrict Danzo, don't let him spread bad words to Naruto in the village. I don't want to be a child growing up under the discriminatory eyes of others. I'll definitely do it, don't worry. Sarutobi Hiruzen said firmly. Gong Yi doesn't believe it. In the original novel, Naruto was discriminated against and isolated from childhood, not only because of the relationship between Kyuubi, 9 Tails, and Jinchuriki column force. He was just a child, an ignorant child. The villagers will hate the Kyuubi, 9 Tails, inside him, but not to the point of angering Naruto who doesn't know anything. If it wasn't for Danzo behind the scenes. Naruto's childhood, what's the point of this? The same person, Jinchuriki column force, Killer Bee was in the village, and was attacked by people. The same person, Jinchuriki column force, Yugito with two tails, is loved and even pursued by many young men in Kurigakure village. You know, Yugito became a Jinchuriki column force when he was only 2 years old. Naruto, like them, should be accepted by his fellow villagers. Gong Yi doesn't. I believe too much that Sarutobi Hiruzen can restrain Shimura Danzo, so last time, Danzo didn't dare to stand up. Facing Gong Yi's suspicious gaze, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't say anything else. Topic changed, he talked about work. The rebellion of Kyuubi, 9 Tails, not only killed many villagers, but also injured more villagers. This case Konoha Hospital must be responsible for the aftermath. Just when Gong Yi came back, this mess was handed over to Gong Yi. Two chatted for a long time, and when they were about to leave, Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little worried. Minato went, and Konoha went through the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, upheaval and lost a lot of good jonin. The new generation of ninjas are mostly chunin. The strength of the village is unprecedentedly weak, and I am afraid that some countries will be restless. Alas, Orochimaru. Speaking of the back, he let out a long sigh and left in despair. Gong Yi sat in the dean's office with deep eyes. He can actually understand what Sarutobi Hiruzen thinks. If Orochimaru did not rebel and Sannin was in the village, the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, rebellion would not have caused such a big loss at all. It's just that some things, regretting and recalling, are useless. When Gong Yi stood up, the so-called worry was all a joke. With me, whoever comes will die. ... After a day's work, Gong Yi briefly cleaned in the hospital and walked out of the hospital. The afterglow of the sunset shone on the streets of Konoha village with golden light. Gong Yi, who is used to wearing a black robe, even if he no longer hides his head and hides his face, he still wears a black robe according to his habit. But he doesn't cover his face anymore. Gong Yi fought against Kyuubi, Nine-Tails before. The story has also spread in the village. This is something that Danzo can't stop. Because of that war, many people saw it with their own eyes. To pity Gong Yi because of his disfigurement. When he showed his naturally handsome cheeks, along the way, women kept getting shy when they saw him. She's probably shy. Gong Yi can feel those glances, most of them are well-intentioned, except one. Glancing without a trace, Gong Yi was thoughtful. Anyone from Uchiha? Just after he got home and had dinner. Unsurprisingly, Uchiha's people came to him. This is what you want, the third condition, I've done it. Gong Yi glanced at what was wrapped in black cloth on the table, and had no idea of opening it to verify. Instead, he stared into Uchiha Fugaku's eyes with interest. Is it open? Seeing Gong Yi's appearance, Fugaku somehow became very angry. Because of him that he killed his best friend himself. Just thinking of Gong Yi's current identity, and his past experience that was not influenced by his demonic illusion, Fugaku forcibly suppressed his anger. Now he is very tolerant. He just tugged at the corners of his mouth with a smile. Do you want to meet? If you don't use demonic illusion for me, well, I guess. Gong Yi said lightly. Fugaku was silent, pressing his hands on his knees, clenching slightly. Such as 1. 6 as you wish. Sharingan open. 1 tomo, 2 tomo, 3 tomo. The 3 tomo are connected in series, forming a sharp 3-blade shape in an instant, and in the area framed by the fan blade, there are 3 black dots each. This scene is completely different from Sasuke's future hexagram Mangekyo. Contrary, it is similar to Uchiha Itachi, the only difference should be 3 more 3 black dots. Strange and evil power was released involuntarily from those eyes. Mangekyo's Sharingan opened, and Fugaku wanted to release the unique ability he got after opening Mangekyo for a moment. Even activate demonic illusion to control Gong Yi. Only with Gong Yi's next move, he froze slightly. Gong Yi flicked his sleeves, as if to flick that power away from him. And in Fugaku's perception, Mangekyo's power really avoided Gong Yi. How is this possible? Hey, your Mangekyo, it looks like he's not mastered yet. Chapter 187. Beating Uchiha. Fugaku slowly closed Mangekyo, looking directly at Gong Yi. You didn't tell me that every time you use Mangekyo, you are more likely to go blind. Gong Yi said indifferently, if you want to gain great strength, you naturally need to pay. You should understand this truth when you extract your first chakra. Ninjas refine chakra, which consumes both mental and physical energy. Mental energy can be recovered slowly through rest. However, the energy of the body is obtained by squeezing the activity of cells. If it is in the growth stage, that's fine. Every time you grow your body, you will replenish cell activity. But if you are over 40 years old and you continue to refine chakra with high frequency, then you will not be far away from death. This is why, in the ninja world, there are very few senior ninjas over 100 years old. Chakra is the acquisition, the loss of cell activity, that is. Giving. Uchiha Fugaku nodded, believing that he had uncovered this matter. Glanced at the thing wrapped in black cloth, and asked the last question for today. The second condition, when do you want me to honor it? Gong Yi shook his head, it's not the time yet, when the time is right, I will naturally find you. Fugaku hummed, got up, and prepared to leave. Gong Yi stopped him. His eyes narrowed slightly, and the young man exuded a dangerous aura. Fugaku, where were you on the day of the rebellion of Kyubi, Nine Tails? Fugaku turned abruptly, you suspect that I control Kyubi, Nine Tails. Gong Yi doesn't deny his own suspicions, Mangekyo's demonic illusion, enough to control the tailed beast. This is the information I know, so, I need you to give me an answer. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath, he didn't like this kind of questioning, as if he was oppressing him Uchiha. But he had to answer, otherwise he couldn't clear his suspicions. Danzo was by my side that day. Oh. Gong Yi raised his eyebrows, I'm a little curious about that. Fugaku explained in a deep voice, Kyubi Nine Tails riot, as the head of the Konoha police force, I discovered it immediately. Then find Lord Hokage of the third generation, and want to help him suppress Kyubi, Nine Tails. Then what? Lord Hokage of the third generation had an idea, but Elder Danzo did not take this suggestion, he let all the Uchiha people return to the clan. And he has always been by my side. You can ask Danzo about this. Gong Yi smiled, no wonder. On that day, he didn't see any Uchiha ninja appear, maybe there was, but he probably died at the feet of Kyubi, Nine Tails. And Danzo did this, and it was estimated that he was suspicious and could not believe Uchiha Fugaku. Okay, I believe you. Fugaku snorted coldly and strode away. But after walking out of the palace, he had to let go and frowned. Not only Danzo doubts me, but he also doubts me. It's clearly not what I did. That there is another pair in this world. Mangekyo. He shook his head, his expression became. Even my patriarch doesn't know about the scattered Uchi. Konoha Hokage, the elders, let alone. They will only target the Uchiha clan with suspicion. As a result, I have to be more careful that my Mangekyo is not known. If once exposed, they will conclude that the Kyubi, Nine Tails rebellion. Gong Yi opened the black cloth, and a crystal glass bottle appeared in front of him. Inside, there happened to be a pair of 3 Tomo Sharingan soaked in nutrient solution. Who is the owner of this pair of eyes? Gong Yi chuckled and muttered, if outsiders saw this kind of smile, they would only think that his name as a demon is worthy of the name. As for the questions about Fugaku just now, he was deliberately beating Fugaku, and even beating the Uchiha clan in the air. That's it. Of course he knew who was controlling Kyubi, Nine Tails, and creating the Kyubi, Nine Tails rebellion. Uchiha Obito, that's all. But it doesn't affect him deliberately expressing his doubts about the Uchiha family. With such a family with infinite possibilities, staying by his side, Gong Yi will feel at ease. And Fugaku has opened Mangekyo, if you do some deeds quietly. For example, to control a few people who are close to Gong Yi. With his own beatings and his responsibilities to the family, he should not dare to use Mangekyo in the village. Gong Yi shook his head, these just little things. Now he is not afraid of the so-called demonic illusion of Mangekyo. At that time, in Ryachi Cave, when sage art failed to cultivate and backfired. Lying between life and death, he broke through the 4th layer of the divine refinement technique. Thus was born the seed of consciousness. Since then, he has known that few demonic illusions can influence him. Divine consciousness seed, For every 100 copies of spiritual power, a divine consciousness seed can be born. After possessing the divine consciousness seed, the divine consciousness can be extended, radiating from the inside out, and insight into all things around. When the divine consciousness seed reaches 2s, it is the 5th level of divine refinement. 3 divine consciousness seeds can break through to the 6th floor. From the 4th floor to the 6th floor, it can be called the mid-stage of divine refinement. The specific skill introduction is to refine spiritual consciousness, gain insight into all things, and spy on heaven and earth. Gong Yi has analyzed several usages of this infinitely useful feature. The first usage, Sage Art Chakra Stabilization Factor. Make it perfect, 100% Sage Art Chakra level. The second usage, Divine Consciousness Cover, wraps the sea of consciousness of the brain, and is not affected by demonic illusion. As for the third usage, he will try it out later. After reaching the 4th floor, Gong Yi also speculated about the 7th, 8th, and 9th and 3rd floors. He can get is probably 1 life 2 begetting 3 begetting all things. 3 only in this way can one have the effect of transforming the consciousness of the gods, inverting the yin and yang, and blurring the false. But this is all later. Gong Yi is not interested in the post-refinement period, nor is he interested in the 3 Tomo Sharingan in his hand. He was interested in was whether the third usage of divine sense he had analyzed was effective. After closing the door, setting up puppets, and guarding against the psychic snake, Gong Yi entered the underground laboratory. The seal is still intact and has not been touched by anyone. Gong Yi nodded. It seemed that no one had come in when he was away. It is probably also related to Minato. After Minato took office as Hokage, he took good care of him. The area of the palace, after Gong Yi left, Minato helped him set up a ninja alert. After all, the leader of the palace is outside the village, and Gong Yi is not like Uchiha, Hyuga, Nara and other families. There are many ninjas in town. Why do you think of Minato again? It's been so long. Gong Yi shook his head and turned his attention to another secret room behind the secret door of the laboratory. The secret room in this secret room was specially opened by him for Nohara Rin. Once inside, everything is as usual. The nutrient solution delivery equipment that maintains Nohara Rin's life has been working non-stop. Gong Yi stared at Nohara Rin's red, yet immature body, and sighed. A year later, it's time for you to wake up, Rin. Chapter 188. Are you willing to be my person Jinchuiki, Column Force, Second More? It has been 13 years since Gong Yi came to the world of ninjas. During these 13 years, the first 5 years were mediocre and did nothing. After entering the ninja school and refining the first chakra, he obtained the system. After that, he embarked on a road of being a strong man that will never return. On this road, he defeated one enemy after another, and he also encountered one desperate chase after another. Before he fully grew up, he made many people's pawns and weapons, until he worked hard to create his own Kekkei Genkei, Jin Dun. After that, he was no longer in the hands of others' weapon. They have even begun to kill people with knives, refining their own weapons. Orochimaru is a knife, and Uchiha Fugaku is also a knife. And his weapon is currently limited to the Konoha medical ninja, and has not yet been successfully refined. Too many ups and downs on this road, and most of them are strangers to him and use each other. Only a few people entered his heart unknowingly. Tsunade, who had a skin-to-skin relationship, counted as one, Hyuga Senso, who accompanied him on missions, counted as one, and Namikaze Minato, who had been born and died several times, counted as one. Apart from these, his disciple Aburame Kaiwei was very close to him. In addition, he has 2 half-disciples. He taught Nohara Rin medical ninjutsu and guided Might Guy's practice on the 8 inner gates. Other than that, there is no one else. Perhaps, Sakurai Ariyi, an assistant, can barely count as one. Nowadays, most people either go or go, and there are still Might Guy, Aburame Kaiwei. Life is pretty decent. Only Nohara Rin. Gong Yi took a deep breath, and the seed of consciousness came out three-dimensionally. A crystal-clear seed slowly floated to Nohara Rin's forehead, and then infiltrated. At the moment when the seed of consciousness entered the depths of Nohara Rin's mind, Gong Yi saw the incomparably solid spiritual barrier again. Today, you can't stop me. Seed of consciousness suddenly changed, and its shape changed from a water drop shape to a slender needle. The thin needle flickered and stabbed into Nohara Rin's spiritual barrier. It seemed like countless years had passed, but it was just a blink. The thin needle instantly entered the deepest part of Nohara Rin's consciousness. Deep in the dark consciousness, there was a ray of light that trembled. The thin needle kept marching towards the light, and soon found the light. Rin! Exclamation mark quote. The light flickered. Who are you? I'm Gong Yi. Who am I? You are Rin. Nohara Rin. Who are you? I am. Fine needle trembled slightly. Gong Yi realized that something was wrong, and Rin not only closed himself up. Her consciousness was also greatly traumatized, and she no longer knew who she was. Gong Yi thought for a while, then suddenly shouted, "Get out with me." No, I don't want to go out. Gong Yi raised the volume of his consciousness, like Huang Zhang Dalu, and suddenly exploded in the depths of Rin's consciousness. Get out with me. No, I'm not going out. Gong Yi doesn't dare to try to wake up Rin Yi Yuan, because he found out that under the voice of his own Huang Zhang Dalu's divine consciousness of light shrank a little. If it were repeated several times, perhaps the last bit of Nohara Rin's consciousness would be shaken away by him. At that time, Nohara Rin really fell into death. Fine needle slowly retreated, came to the mental barrier, and directly retreated. When the fine needle retransformed into the seed of divine consciousness and returned to Gong Yi's sea of consciousness, Gong Yi's face became gloomy. How could this be? In his original vision, Rin was only in danger of life, and his brain activated the emergency mechanism to build that mental barrier. As long as he can go in and wake up Rin, he should be able to bring her out. Regain his sobriety. However, all of this today made Gong Yi taste the feeling of failure again. Gong Yi is never afraid of failure, he will only keep moving forward on the road to success. Moreover, he has seen the hope of success. Since he can get in touch with Rin's consciousness, then in the future, he will have the opportunity to wake her up. Gong Yi thought about the previous situation, his mental power was transformed again, and he drilled into the seal of Rin's lower abdomen. Human, you are here again. Isao Miyo's heavy voice hummed. Gong Yi looked at this sealed, but not very violent-tailed beast. His heart was heavy and a little relaxed. Fortunately, the tailed beasts sealed by Rin are three-tailed, not one-tailed, QB, 9 tails. Grumpy guys. The three-tailed Asata is a turtle with a gentle and docile personality. As long as it is not kept in one place for decades, he will generally not do anything. Sanwei, let me ask you something. Sanwei opened her turbid eyes and stared at the tiny human in front of her. He is so insignificant, but the aura exuding from his body is monstrous. Obviously, the last time I saw him, he didn't have this kind of aura. It seems that in this person's eyes, the even-tailed beast is no longer so scary, and he can talk to the tailed beast on an equal footing without any scruples. Sanwei did not reject Gong Yi's question, but said directly, you say it. I have heard that the tailed beast and the human Jinchuriki column can understand each other and communicate with each other. Other words, tailed beasts can actually communicate with people on a spiritual level with Jinchuiki column power, am I right? Asata Sano pondered for a while, then said leisurely, that's right. And I probably understand what you want to ask. Then please tell me the answer. Gong Yi said unceremoniously. Sanwei didn't care about Gong Yi's attitude, but just stated the truth. I'm sorry, this person, Jinchuriki column force, has built a very thick mental barrier, blocking all communication. And that mental barrier is caused by her physical encounter dangerous and spontaneously formed. If I forcibly communicate with her, it will only shake the mental barrier. Without the protection of that barrier, her last bit of consciousness will completely dissipate. Gong Yi fell silent. Inside the quiet seal, one person and one beast seemed to have nothing to say. Sanwei suddenly made a proposal. Since this person Jinchuriki column force can't wake up, why don't you become my person Jinchuriki column force? Take me out. Oh. Your mental power is extremely huge, and even when you faced me for the first time, you were never afraid. And I can feel that this time you are stronger than the last time. The tail beast is willing to cooperate with the strong. I prefer to see the world with you. Even if there is a strong enemy against you, I will do my best to help you. After hearing these words, Gong Yi burst out laughing. The hearty voice, surrounded by this quiet seal area, constantly echoed. Suddenly, Gong Yi stopped laughing and looked at Sanwei with disdain. Sorry, only three tails are not worthy of being in my stomach. Human. Sanwei roared angrily, and for the first time in his life, it was underestimated by others. Just didn't wait. It said something threatening, and Gong Yi's next sentence quelled its anger. Not long ago, I fought with QB, 9 tails. I pinned him head on and even took QB, 9 tails tailed beast bomb. So, with your strength, is QB, 9 tails stronger? Recently, there have been fewer rewards, fewer flowers, and fewer reviews because the update is not enough. The powerful plot is not good enough, or you all went out to play on National Day. Woo 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 version novel. Please download Filu Shoukan latest chapter. Baidu search 99 playmates to find 99 novel network. Chapter 189. From Nohara Rin's body, Gong Yi put away his disdainful smile. Taking a deep breath, Gong Yi's face was cloudy. He noticed that Sanwei's emotions were by no means as calm as they seemed on the surface. It seems that the three tails are no longer willing to keep their peace when the human Jinchuriki column force can't wake up. Once used by the Kurigakur ninja subordinates, Gong Yi only felt that it was rough. This level of seal, if the person's Jinchuiki column strength is clear, and the three tails are not so violent, it can still be effective. But now Rin is in a coma, and the three tails are gradually becoming emotionally unstable. This seal, it is easy to have an accident. In order to prevent future troubles, Gong Yi pressed Rin's abdomen with one hand, and the chakra washed away. The seal was released. Before, the three tails roaring in Rin's body showed doubts. The man Jinchuriki column force, the man who didn't want to be his own, has now unsealed it again. What did he want to do? Did he go back and regret it after going out? But the next moment, its face changed greatly, and it suddenly roared. Human, you can't do that. By the gathering of chakras trapped him. In the big overseas, the boundless land expands. Not only that, the land is blazing with fire, and the sky is full of thunder. A fierce wind will completely wrap the continent and trap the ocean. 5 elements. Seal. Gong Yi's exhausted 320 retracted his hand and cast such a seal of the 5 elements, even he could not bear it. Sealing is mysterious and unpredictable, and it is extremely difficult to be mastered. Genius such as Kakashi, who lived in his 30s, only learned one of the simplest magic seals. What Gong Yi just cast is a forbidden technique level seal from the Orochimaru collection. In the original book, Orochimaru used this technique to interfere with the 8 trigram seal that Minato cast on Naruto, making Naruto unable to mobilize the tailed beast to investigate Carrot. Jiraiya, who was more familiar with this technique, used the 5 elements to unlock the seal technique. However, this is only interference. In effect, the seal of the 5 elements is actually weaker than the seal of 8 trigrams cast by Minato. But the 8 trigram seal is used to deal with QB, 9 tails, and the 5 element seal is more than enough to deal with a 3-tailed. In this case, you just want to do something, and you have no chance. Gong Yi sneered. He didn't care about Sanwei's previous proposal at all. With his current strength, 1 head, 3 tails has boosted him a lot, but it's not as big as he imagined. Once he completes the perfect fusion of Hashirama cells, plus the years of practice of the 8 inner gates, he can have the power to surpass the tailed beast. Moreover, Gong Yi has long had the goal of sealing the tailed beast. What he wants to seal in his own body, yes, it will definitely not be a weak existence like Three Tails. It's trying to wake up Rin again, talking to Three Tails again, and at the back, spending a lot of chakra to seal Three Tails. Gong Yi was already tired. Without any further action, Gong Yi went up. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Gong Yi began to practice magic. After breaking through to the 4th floor, Gong Yi, the rate of increase of his spiritual power became faster again. Now it has risen to more than 120 points, and it seems that it is not far from condensing the second seed of consciousness. After dawn, Gong Yi walked away refreshed and started his daily exercise. It's just that while practicing ninjutsu, Gong Yi discovered another magical effect of Z. His master is the most proficient, and he can even use a few ninjutsus released by one-handed hand seal to leave a mark on the seed of consciousness. Majestic Destroyer Flame Great Fire Annihilation is a flame, Doden Earth Style, Sharp Spear, it's a black long gun mark. Gong Yi tried to use his consciousness to activate that. The spear mark. Om, a humming sound, a 3-meter-long black spear suddenly appeared in front of him. Muji release. Instant. Gong Yi's eyes twinkled, and he worked hard to study Muji ninjutsu, but except Rasengan, other ninjutsu, at most one-handed hand seal, can't advance an inch after that. Unexpectedly, after condensing the first seed of divine consciousness, there is actually such an effect. Divine consciousness. It's really amazing, but Gong Yi also faintly discovered that a divine consciousness seed can only leave 555 marks at most. That is to say, he can only choose 555 ninjutsu to be engraved on it to achieve instant effect. And these 555 ninjutsu must reach the level of one-handed hand seal in order to leave a mark. 555 inches. Gong Yi pondered slightly, his current master has a lot of ninjutsu. To put it mildly, in the same generation, even within the same village, apart from 3 generations of Hokage, his master's ninjutsu is one of the best. He has been collecting Doden Earth-style ninjutsu, and he can even create his own rock armor and improve the Doden Earth-style sharp gun. For Kaden Fire-style ninjutsu, there are a lot of scrolls sent by the Uchiha family. In addition, he also read a large collection of books at Orochimaru, plus some ninjutsu scrolls obtained by beheading enemies outside. In the accumulation of ninjutsu, he is worth a lot. And there is the support of rejuvenation, most of the ninjutsu, he has tried to practice. If you can only engrave 555 ninjutsu, then you might as well choose the 5 basic ninjutsu. So, no matter what kind of ninja I encounter, I can use the ninjutsu of mutual generation and mutual restraint to deal with it. And because of the bonus of Sage Mode, my ninjutsu power will be even greater. He thinks of it, just do it. Gong Yi quickly thinks in his mind, he already has earth, fire, and the remaining 3 kinds of ninjutsu. Wind, thunder, water. But before that, Gong Yi thought about it more comprehensively. 5 kinds of ninjutsu, not only 5 kinds of properties, but also 5 kinds of characteristics. For example, Doden Earth-style sharp gun, strong in a single-point breakthrough. Majestic Destroyer Flame Great Fire Annihilation is strong in the coverage area. 3 ninjutsu, you have to match them with different characteristics. Soon, with the help of super high mental power, Gong Yi screened out the 5 most suitable combinations. Futon Wind Style Vacuum/Dance. Raven Thunder Style Jinchuriki Column. Suiten Water Style Water Formation Wall. Vacuum/Dance is characterized by a long attack distance and huge power, highlighting a domineering. This trick, it was used by Kazama Pingche back then, and half of the forest was destroyed with just one blow. Domineering power, you can see a Madara. Bound the dragon and form a Thunder Jinchuriki column with the Thunder attribute chakra, paralyzing the enemy and trapping them. In Gong Yi's words, that is, even if you are a dragon, you have to be tied by me. This trick, collected by the Konoha ninjas, was used when dealing with Kyuubi, Nine Tails before. Just that Kyuubi, Nine Tails, is too powerful, and the effect of the bound dragon Jinchuriki column is not very good. Needless to say, water formation wall, defensive ninjutsu. In this way, there are sharp guns for single-point breakthrough, majestic destroyer flame, great fire annihilation for large area killing, vacuum/dance for long-distance pursuit, and Jinchuriki column for limited binding. As an external defensive ninjutsu, the water formation wall will also have a good instant effect, and it can cooperate well with its own rock armor and Jin-Dun chakra possession. Gong Yi nodded with satisfaction. Once he is the real master of these 5 instant Muji ninjutsu, even without Kekkei Genkai and Sage Mode, he can fight cage-level powerhouses. But one problem was solved, and another problem came. For the 5 types of chakras, only the earth element is the most friendly, followed by the fire element. That's why he studied Kekkei Genkai and went straight to the fusion of fire and earth. Behind this are the water system, wind, and thunder. In fact, the last three, there is no difference. It took Gong Yi 3 years to develop the superficial master water formation wall. It can be seen that his talent in these 3 series is quite average. I'm afraid I'll be busy again. Talent itself is average, and it will take time to master it to the level of a one-handed hand seal. Gong Yi smiled wryly. He found that his affairs seemed to be more and more. Chapter 190. Gong Yi is really busy. For the next few months, Gong Yi is engulfed in endless busy work. Finishing the work at Konoha Hospital every day, I have to go home to practice, and I have to do some research from time to time. In practice, his content includes a lot. The first is the most basic physical exercise, which cannot be stopped. Now he is able to withstand 35 times the gravity. With daily weight training and rejuvenation, his physique is gradually improving. Now the physical attribute point alone has reached 110 points, which is only 10 points and 10 points lower than the mental strength. In fact, if it wasn't for breaking through to the 4th level of divine refinement, the spiritual power would increase rapidly. Physical attributes are higher than spiritual attributes. After that, Gong Yi's newly added 3-line ninjutsu practiced. Water formation wall is relatively fast. After all, he has learned it before, but he is not skilled enough. And Raiden Thunder style Jinchuriki column, Futon Wind style vacuum dance, he only belongs to the state of understanding. Now it needs to be relearned, and it will take a long time to even get its master to the state of one-handed hand seal. Besides these 2 things, Gong Yi has more important things to do. Refine the Sage Art chakra and pour it into the Yin seal. Several Sage modes in the original book do not last long. But there are several people who have thought of ways to increase the duration of Sage mode. Naruto relies on Shadow Clone to absorb natural energy. In that state, with a human head and a snake body, there is undoubtedly a snake entangled in him, helping him absorb natural energy all the time. Only in this way can he explain that he and Uchiha Itachi and Sasuke brothers have been around for so long. As for Senju Hashirama, no features are revealed. Sage body of the reincarnation of Asura, the amount of chakra is huge. Sage Art chakra extracted once is enough for him to use for a long time. Gong Yi has not learned how to multiply Shadow Clone, and he does not want to resist the negative emotions that Shadow Clone brings back. As for letting the psychic beast attached to his body and helping him absorb natural energy, Gong Yi also directly rejected this method. Of the 3 holy lands have more or less the power of prophecy. This kind of thing is still chilling. Ghosts know what they predicted, what they said, and what they kept. Therefore, after learning Sage Art, Gong Yi didn't plan to do more with Raichi Cave. At most, use psychics when you need to. Not advisable. Gong Yi can only figure out a way by himself. Yin Seal is the best solution he thought of. The yin seal can store ordinary chakra, so naturally it can also store sage art chakra. From a certain point of view, the yin seal is similar to the dantian in martial arts, which can store internal force. Ordinary chakra equals martial arts inner strength. Sage art chakra is one level higher than ordinary chakra, similar to the spiritual power, mana or yuan power in Shenxia novels. It is a fusion of natural energy from heaven and earth. If this is the case, the dantian of yin seal must also be upgraded. A spiritual cave that can store spiritual power, mana, a sea of air, or a shrine, this level. How to upgrade the yin seal and raise it to a higher level, Gong Yi now has some thoughts. He is constantly experimenting. Another busy day at the end of work, Gong Yi stood up and slackened. Walking out of the dean's office, Gong Yi came to the hospital director's office, and Wei Li was busy processing medical records. Beside her, there is a cradle, and inside is Naruto. Headmaster is here. You're busy, I'll take a look at Naruto. Gong Yi smiled, walked over to Naruto, and hugged him out. Somehow, Naruto and Gong Yi have a very close relationship. Every time Gong Yi hugs him, he smiles happily, and even stretches out his chubby hand, which is not very flexible, to touch Gong Yi. Yeah. Gong Yi touched Naruto with his chin affectionately, and Ili Yi, who was beside him, looked over with a smile. President, you seem to have stubble. Gong Yi touched his chin. There is a kind of cyan stubble, a kind of stubble that only teenagers have. Hard. Shaking his head with a smile, Gong Yi teased Naruto and put him back in the cradle. Recently, I have to take care of Naruto, and I have to work again. Are you busy? Would you like me to assign your work? Wei Li smiled lightly. Fortunately, I'm already familiar with these tasks, and I can handle them very quickly. As for taking care of Naruto, she looked at Naruto with a maternal radiance on her face. After work every day, when I get home, I don't know what to do. Now that I have Naruto, I feel pretty good. Gong Yi joked. Have you ever thought about finding a boyfriend? You are so beautiful and your age is right. There are many young men in the village who secretly adore you. Speaking of which, Gong Yi also felt very sorry for Wei Li. A woman, when she was in her prime, gave her a tow bottle. He wondered if he was being selfish, just to take care of Minato's children, but he ignored Eri Yi's feelings. Wei Li's eyebrows and eyes curved, and she looked at Gong Yi with a half-smile. Pursing Yuhi's moist lips, Hilly said softly, I am with a man like the dean every day, and the rest of the village seems to be a little disgusting to me. Gong Yi was stunned and scratched his head, not knowing what to say. Ha ha, I haven't seen the dean so helpless for a long time. Wei Li laughed refreshingly. I'm 10 years older than you, Dean. I won't like you as a kid. After that, she subconsciously stopped. Enough to make fun of you. Gong Yi's current identity is not good for saying disrespectful words. Gong Yi didn't care. He thought about it and said, don't you usually like to eat my dishes? Anyway, now you're off work, why didn't you hold Naruto and be a guest at my house? Yi hesitated. It doesn't seem to be very good. Lord Hokage forbids Naruto to leave the village. Gong Yi frowned, but he forgot about it. Then I'll buy some food. Let's go to your house. But soon, he came up with a solution. Wei Li smiled sweetly, then I'm looking forward to it. ... A small building, not too small, with a total of 2 floors, this is the residence of Hilly. Gong Yi cut vegetables neatly, and boiled chicken soup in the pot. He didn't do any spicy dishes today, most of them were light and nourishing. During this period of time, Hilly lost a lot of weight and lost the feeling of plumpness that she used to have. Gong Yi intends to make her a delicious meal to make up for it. Occasionally, when he glanced back at Ili Yi, who was playing with the children, Gong Yi felt dazed. This scene hadn't been transmigrated, it would probably be the happy day he imagined. There is a gentle wife, a lively and lovely son, and a family of 3, living harmoniously in a small and not small house. After work, get together and cook by myself, while my wife is responsible for taking care of my son. After dinner, the wife goes to wash the dishes, and he can play with his son in his arms. Just in a trance and just for a moment, Gang Yi knew that this scene was not real. Naruto is the son of the 4th generation, and Eri is not his wife. Even when he enters this building and is outside, he can feel the Anbu ninja's surveillance. The village can't just let it go. Shaking his head, Gang Yi continued to cook his own dishes, but just as the kitchen knife was lifted, a soft touch and a quiet aroma came from behind him. Wei Li, you. The gentle voice came from the base of the ear, if there was nothing, with the fragrance of virginity permeating the woman's body. President, since I started taking care of Naruto, I always feel that there is something missing at home. Before living alone, I never felt this way. I didn't know until you came that there was a man missing at home. That you are here. Gang Yi put down the knife and quietly listened to Ili's words. He knew that Ili's days seemed calm, but it should have been under a lot of pressure. A woman, unmarried with a child of unknown origin. And Naruto is also a Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, Jinchuriki, column force, hated by the rest of the village. Yi took him to and from work every day, and he must have suffered a lot of byakugan, sneered. Occasionally when I was cooking, Naruto cried and I would be at a loss. I originally wanted to find a nanny for Naruto, but the top of the village forbids other people to contact Naruto. It's nice to have you here. Feeling the head resting on his shoulder, the soft hair made Gang Yi's nose itchy. Ili suddenly let go of her hand and took a few steps back. Her face was Yuhi's face, her fingers tangled together. Sorry, Dean, I seem to have done something embarrassing. Chapter 191. Uchiha Shisui, 5th more. Gang Yi slowly dried his hands and looked at the woman who was at a loss. Beckoned. Come here. Ah. Wei Li opened her mouth and approached in a daze. The next moment, a warm and thick body hugged her in his arms. A magnetic, mellow voice rang out from Yuhi's earlobe. You have worked hard for this period of time, and I may also ask you in the future. But don't worry, I will always be by your side. Feels so reassuring and reliable. Ili knew that what she always felt was missing was probably this feeling. Leaning her head in Gang Yi's arms, she hummed softly. Gang Yi let go of his hand, smiled and said, Let's eat. The soup is ready, you go to clear the table first, I'll just finish the rest of the dish. Wei Li lowered her head and walked towards the dining room, preparing to clear the table. Her earlobes, Fei Yuhi, are crystal clear and very beautiful. The dean is still young, if it were a little older. 3220. Quote. She suddenly touched her lower abdomen, that kind of hard, rough feeling just now. It seems to be quite small. When Gang Yi walked out of Ili's house, it was already the time when the willow head was on the moon. He looked around, looking slightly unhappy. When a ninja appeared beside him, he stared at each other with a bad face. Guardian Jinchuriki column can do it, but it's not necessary. Let's monitor it so closely. Eri is still an unmarried woman, so she should be left with enough privacy. Ninjas wearing animal masks dare not breathe. He wanted to say that this was Lord Hokage's arrangement, but he couldn't even open his mouth. The aura on Gang Yi's body is like a sea of abyss, just looking at it makes people timid. Forget it, be careful in the future, don't get too close. With me in the village, don't worry about the safety of the Jinchuriki column force. Gang Yi flicked his sleeves and walked away. Anbu Ninja wiped his sweat, nodded to his companions, and returned to his post. Just that subconsciously, he retreated the monitoring distance by a few hundred meters. Under the moonlight, Gang Yi strolled along. Just walking, he deliberately walked into a secluded place. A black figure, like a ghost, appeared in front of him. Gang Yi's pupils narrowed slightly. What a fast speed! Even compared to Minato and himself in the 6-door state, it's not too much. When did this kind of existence appear in the village? President Gong Yi, Lord Danzo, please. Gong Yi nodded, lead the way. The ninja hummed and walked behind Gong Yi, squinting and watching him. Dark high-neck short-sleeved top, showing sturdiness. He was wearing the same color pants and leggings. On his back, he carried a small sword. Ears moved, Gong Yi looked at a crow on a tree not far away, and his eyes were also watching him. Gong Yi retracted his gaze and spoke lightly. Shisui. The ninja who was leading the way stopped abruptly, and a suspicious voice came. The dean knows me. Gong Yi chuckled, it seems that he guessed correctly. He couldn't infer Uchiha Shisui's identity just from the clothes and age, but the crow was exposed. In the original work, the appearance of Uchiha Itachi is often accompanied by a black crow. But in fact, those black crows were raised by Uchiha Shisui since childhood. Later, after Shisui's death, as his friend, Uchiha Itachi took over the job and took care of the group of crows. I have met your patriarch Fugaku several times, and in his chatter, his son is a real genius. However, his son is not the strongest young generation in the clan. Because there is one person who is still above him. Come to think of it, it should be you. Uchiha Shisui said modestly, Itachi is not weaker than me, his talent is still higher than mine. Gong Yi shook his head, but looking at it now, you're already ahead of him. Probably because I'm a few years older than him. Gong Yi suddenly asked curiously, you should be Anbu who belongs to the third generation, why did you pass on Danzo's message to me? In front paused slightly, and then continued to move forward. However, his explanation was also given. My grandfather was Uchiha Kagami, who fought side by side with 3 generations of adults, Elder Danzo. Therefore, when I was young, Elder Danzo taught me some things, and occasionally passed on for him, which is what I should do. Oh, is it? Gong Yi muttered something inaudible, and his footsteps stopped in front of a dark building. Elder Danzo is inside, Dean Gong Yi, please. Gong Yi raised his foot to leave, but he stopped again and looked at Uchiha Shisui. If you can, as an Anbu, don't get too close to the roots. After speaking, ignoring whether Shisui listened to his own words or not, Gong Yi walked into the darkness. Uchiha Shisui looked puzzled and didn't understand Gong Yi's meaning, but as smart as him, he quickly understood. His face became hesitant. Gong Yi, here it is. A sense of weakness in the gloomy voice. Gong Yi sneered, I thought you wouldn't find me anymore. Since the last time there was a conflict over Naruto's handling, Danzo has never approached him again. However, the cooperation between the two has not stopped and is still going on. Danzo leaned on crutches and walked slowly to Gong Yi's face. In front. Gong Yi frowned slightly, Danzo's breath, for a while. Strong, for a while. Weak, it seemed to be very unstable. Regardless of other conflicts, the fact that you and I are in a cooperative relationship will not be affected. There is nothing wrong with me looking for you. Danzo said, looking at Gong Yi's frown, he spread his hands. You should be able to feel my physical condition, right? Gong Yi nodded and tentatively said, you have already started transplanting Hashirama cells. Danzo doesn't hide, some things, he knows, can't hide. I'm getting older, and unlike you, I can wait. Is a way to perfectly fuse Hashirama cells. Did he know, Gong Yi had actually started the Hashirama cell transplantation. The fusion progress has reached 40%. I also let people try the research results of the inhibitory agent you gave. Worked, so I started transplanting Hashirama cells. Gong Yi snorted coldly, but from my observation, you didn't listen to my advice. Yes, Danzo's feeling of being strong and weak must have reduced the formula ratio of the inhibitory potion. Reduce the inhibition characteristics, and the consequences of doing so are obvious. The characteristics of Hashirama cells can have 1. 6 effect expansion, but its phagocytic properties will also expand. Danzo should be reluctant to bear the characteristics contained in Hashirama cells. I came to you, not to listen to your gossip, I just want to know, you now have Hashirama cells, how far is the research work going? Quote. Isn't every research progress copied for you? No, that's not enough. You should have reservations. Danzo said categorically that he never believed that Gongyi would hand over all his research results without reservation. And he can't wait. Gongyi was silent, then suddenly smiled. You're right, I do have some reservations. But what do you want in exchange? Danzo squinted slightly. As long as I have it, you can make conditions. Even the roots, I can let them do things for you. Gongyi shook his head, smacked his lips, and made a request that made Danzo look gloomy. I need a portion of the Hashirama cells. Chapter 192. Uchiha, Gongyi. Hearing Gongyi's condition, Danzo categorically refused. Impossible. Gongyi glanced at him with a half-smile, and without any hesitation, turned around and left. In the darkness, Danzo hesitated to speak, and finally suppressed his restlessness. I can't promise him. Once he promises, he can terminate the partnership at any time. After walking out of the stronghold where the roots were, Gongyi shook his head. He actually knew that Danzo would definitely not agree to the conditions he just put forward. So-called Hashirama cell's original body is actually the flesh and blood tissue that Senju Hashirama left in the world. Gongyi or Orochimaru, the Hashirama cell obtained from Danzo, is just a daughter cell that has been cultured and proliferated by the original body. Has most of the characteristics of Hashirama cells, but lacks the characteristics of automatic proliferation and division. Because in culture, it has reached ultimate. After this Hashirama cell is born, because it does not have the characteristics of division and proliferation, its phagocytosis is increased several times. Because only in this way, the cell can survive and even evolve towards the original body. If Gongyi achieves 100% fusion, it means that his body is entirely composed of Hashirama cells. Under the regulation of human body functions, these cells will be transformed into his own cells. Thus evolve to the Primarch level. 2. But before that, not. Why Uchiha Obito was able to rely on Hashirama cells, Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, to breed so many white Zetsu. The reason is that Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the first battle, he directly bit down a piece of meat. In that piece of meat, there are countless cell primordials. Gongyi and Orochimaru have no primordial bodies, so they can only cooperate with Danzo. Just like Gongyi's cultivation of terrestrial resentment cells, the horn, Du's heart itself contains the horn, Du's cell precursor. But his Hashirama cells, but without the original body, are all cultured progeny. Now it can only be controlled by others, but Danzo wants to solve the hidden dangers in his body, and sooner or later will agree to my conditions. Gongyi smiled confidently. For this matter, he has great confidence. And how to solve the hidden danger of Danzo, Gongyi also has a general idea. Sharingan. Looking at the two eyeballs in front of him, it's hard to imagine what kind of power can make it take on the shape of 3 Tomo's pupils. Gongyi thought about how to make good use of the Sharingan sent by Fugaku. Transplanted into oneself like Kakashi. Gongyi shook his head, not that his body couldn't take Sharingan. With his current physical strength, he has long been several times higher than Kakashi, supporting a pair of Sharingan, using ninjutsu, the burden is not too big. He's just not satisfied, it's just a pair of 3 Tomo's. Possibility of continuing to evolve and become Mangekyo. He is not Uchiha after all, and there is no Kakashi and an Obito to help him open his eyes. And compared to the effect of Sharingan, his current consciousness can already do it. No need for superfluous research, analysis of Sharingan, source of power. Gongyi thought about it. This is a direction that can be studied. But before that, there may be one more to try. Demonic illusion. Gongyi is not good at demonic illusion, even though he is extremely tall now, even a god was born. But for the use of demonic illusion, he only stays at the most basic level. However, Sharingan's boost to demonic illusion is also very clear. Other words, the entire ninja world knows that the demonic illusion of the Uchiha clan, and the demonic illusion of the Sharingan, can even control the tailed beast when they reach their peak. Not long ago, this legend has been verified again. Gong Yi thought of Nohara Rin. Nohara Rin's current state is slack consciousness and confused memory. And she was extremely reluctant to leave the barrier of body function, which was born spontaneously. If someone else forcibly took her out of that area, it would only cause her consciousness to dissipate, and she would end up being truly brain dead. What if I control her with demonic illusion and let her leave voluntarily? Gong Yi was slightly excited at the thought of this approach and the possibilities. Perhaps, this is the best way to awaken Rin Nohara by himself. Moreover, he happens to have a pair of powerful 3-tomo Sharingan, which can enhance the power of demonic illusion. When he thought of it, Gong Yi did not hesitate to prepare the corresponding surgical medicine. Nohara Rin could directly complete the eye transplant operation outdoors. As her teacher, Gong Yi is stronger than her surgical ability. Under the control of fine chakra, the chakra scalpel gently cuts the nerve cells that connect the eyeball. Gong Yi endured the pain and gouged out his eyeball. That has already been prepared to enrich the nutrient solution to ensure that your eyeball will not be damaged. Then put the pair of Sharingan into his eye sockets. Eyes, Gong Yi felt a little uncomfortable. I don't know if Kakashi will feel this way. Gong Yi doesn't think about this kind of thing. In fact, he also knows that even if Kakashi feels this uncomfortable, he will endure it forcibly. Because it was a gift from Obito, known for years and months, Kakashi should also get used to that. Eyes. Palm Sage art was slowly released, and the rejuvenation art also began to cover the eyes. A cool and soft feeling flows in the eye sockets. Gong Yi opened his eyes leisurely, a pair of slightly vicissitudes of eyes, staring at everything in front of him. Some trance fragments, fleeting. Probably what the owner of the eyes saw in his life. Through those flickering clips, Gong Yi knew the owner of the eye. Uchiha Chika's. Gong Yi's mood is a little complicated. He didn't expect that these pair of eyes were actually Uchiha Chinfang's. But when you think about it, it makes sense. Uchiha Chika's and Fugaku both belong to the same camp and have the same philosophy. Age difference is also more than 320. And the strength gap is not too big. The two are very good friends, and they are completely reasonable. For example, in the cooperation with Gong Yi, Uchiha Chinfang asked Fugaku to deliver the letter, which shows that the relationship between the two is very good. Suicide or homicide? No, he asked Fugaku to kill himself. It's a voluntary killing. Touching those eyes, Gong Yi vaguely understood something secret. Pity that these fragments flashed by in a flash. After understanding, there is no longer any memory left. Gong Yi took a deep breath and planned to give the Sharingan a try. The huge spiritual power poured into his eyeballs under the mobilization of his consciousness. A subtle and indescribable force arises spontaneously. Pupil power. It is precisely because of the existence of this power that Sharingan has so many wonderful uses. Once Mangekyo is turned on, the upper limit of pupil power will reach a terrifying level, which is enough to support the ultimate ninjutsu embodied by such a large chakra entity as Susanoo. However, the increase of the upper limit of pupil power will also cause the loss of pupil power every time it is used. Eventually, blindness will result. If Gong Yi realized something, his eyes were slowly changing. When Gong Yi huge spiritual power was only injected into 1/3, he felt the limit. These eyes are not enough to support Gong Yi's entire mental power. But this is enough. A round of evil 3-tomo suddenly appeared in his eyes. If outsiders saw this scene, they would only exclaim, Uchiha, to see the Chapter 193. Shoo, a crystal clear needle strayed out. Completely transparent and without substance. Under the control of Gong Yi's mind, he went straight into Nohara Rin's mind. Well versed, he found the spiritual barrier, and Gong Yi slipped in leisurely. Who are you? It was still the same. Blank and stunned voice, soft and weak, as if it was a homeless little girl. Gong Yi's needle of consciousness stopped there, and then said slowly, I am Gong Yi. Who am I? This time Gong Yi didn't answer her directly, but stared at the flickering light. In the outside world, Gong Yi's hands began to quickly hand seal, and the Sharingan in his eyes exuded a strange light. Demonic illusion, the technique of nirvana. An illusory white feather fell from the sky, surrounding Rin Nohara's consciousness. Fluttering like a fairy, it makes people drowsy. The next moment, Gong Yi will tell Nohara Rin's identity and give her the order to sober up. But in an instant, Gong Yi changed his mind. Nohara Rin's sobriety, and even his resurrection, will inevitably go to find Kakashi. Will also attract the attention of Uchiha Obito, and even the village of Kurigakure who lost its three tails. Gong Yi doesn't want to deal with these troubles. Especially Obito. Without Obito's promotion, the plot of the original book will be completely chaotic, and by then, many of Gong Yi's plans will not be able to unfold smoothly. I muttered in my heart, I'm sorry. Gong Yi made a decision. Your name is Gong Ling. The flickering light flickered slightly, and in a deep sleep, he slowly said, my name is Gong Ling. Gong Yi frowned. It seems that the hypnotic effect of this nirvana technique is not as good as expected. If the effect is not good, it means that there is a flaw, so it is easy for people to solve this demonic illusion. Thinking back carefully, the technique of nirvana jingshi was performed by the snake sage mode, and the effect was very good. This technique is actually a kind collected by Orochimaru. More I get to know Orochimaru, the more I realize how powerful this man is. He can use most types of ninjutsu. Even demonic illusion, spiritism, and taijutsu, swordsmanship. And each of them has been mastered very well, which can be called extremely comprehensive. This is probably the case. He can later complete impure world reincarnation, and even break the ghoul seal. In the future, he will inherit most of Orochimaru's legacy, and all of this, Gong Yi has already obtained a lot of it long ago. Gong Yi didn't chase Orochimaru and watched him leave, and he was a little grateful for Orochimaru's generosity earlier. Since this demonic illusion is cast in sage mode, it must be a bonus. Quote. Gong Yi's mind moved, and he, who was in the outside world, suddenly stopped the technique of nirvana. Begins to absorb natural energy, and when he reaches the sage art chakra amount that can briefly use sage mode, he instantly casts demonic illusion again. Senpo, Sage Art Nirvana Shrine Technique. Nohara Rin's remaining consciousness trembled slightly, and in her mind, a vast expanse of white feathers like a sea of snow floated down one after another. In the white snow sea, she vaguely saw a man walking towards him. The man was tall and straight, with a handsome face and deep eyes. On that forehead, a diamond-shaped mark shimmered slightly. Pale white energy surrounds the edge, sometimes twisting like a snake, sometimes circling like a dragon. Hissing, a low roar, ups and downs, endlessly. Reason, Nohara Rin, whose consciousness was blank, couldn't help but feel a sincere affection for this man who looked like a fairy. It seems that in his heart, he has always been admiring him. Nohara Rin in this life is very different from the original. In the original, she secretly admires the powerful genius Kakashi. And this time, Gong Yi has attracted her attention since the ninja school, and her performance is far better than Kakashi. Why Nohara Rin went to Gong Yi to learn medical ninjutsu? Heart, she has always had a great affection for Gong Yi. As for Kakashi and Obito, for her, they are just good companions and friends, it's that simple. Probably the same, under the blessing of sage mode, she is convinced of Gong Yi's words behind her. Your name is Gong Ling. The past is like a piece of white paper, and you can't chase. The future is in the dark, and only those who are in your eyes will be the light. I am the person in your eyes, and I am your light. You will be loyal to me for the rest of your life. ... Gong Ling, follow me out. Gong Yi drank lightly, causing the white light to tremble slightly. But this time, without any resistance, he followed Gong Yi slowly to the entrance of the mental barrier. A flicker. The thick spiritual barrier collapsed like a snow mountain in an instant. The quiet eyes suddenly opened. Who sees it as the fairy Gong Yi who is watching her? Lips kissed, Gong Yi said slowly, Gong Ling, you know me. Nohara Rin, no, the woman who already thought of herself as Miyazu, opened her mouth stiffly. Master. Phew, Gong Yi breathed a sigh of relief, sage mode disappeared, and 3 Tomo Sharingan put away. In this way, there will be no more worries. As for Nohara Rin's future being controlled by himself, will he feel guilty? Gong Yi will not. Nohara Rin himself is someone who is going to die at the hands of Kakashi, and has no future. It was I who saved her. When I am in the world of ninja, and no one dares to obey, I will unlock the demonic illusion of the Nirvana Temple. By then, Nohara Rin will also be reborn again. As for the next time, Gong Ling, you will be my master and do things with me. Take Gong Ling out of the groove where the nutrient solution is, and under Gong Ling's blank and innocent eyes, Gong Yi cleans her up a smooth body. A loose black robe covered her body. Come out with me. Gong Yi walked towards the secret room, and Gong Ling struggled to follow behind. Haven't moved my body for too long, and they've been lying down for almost 2 years. If it wasn't for Hashirama's cells, Gong Ling's body was greatly strengthened, and she can't even walk now. In the living room above, Gong Yi watched Gong Ling carefully. Past 2 years, the girl's appearance has hardly changed, but has become white and clear. If this appearance is seen by outsiders, Gong Yi shook his head and said lightly, from now on, you can't show your true face. Put on your hat for now, I will change your appearance for you in 2 days. Well, master. Gong Ling was at a loss, but said obediently. She was no different from a blank piece of paper. They have as probably the basic life instincts that the body has after what the body has experienced over the years. There are still many things to teach her. Don't go out these few days. Stay at home and focus on restoring your health. Yes, master too. Are you hungry? No, master. Soaking in nutrient solution makes it not feel hungry. However, Gong Yi still ordered, you need to get used to eating 3 meals a day. This is a human instinct. Yes, master. Gong Yi had a headache. Did he come back from a trouble? He asked Gong Ling to get up and move, slowly familiarizing himself with the state of his body, while he went to get some food. It is like raising a child. Gong Yi is not too dissatisfied. Jinchuriki column force of a 3-tailed man. Phailu reminds you. An LT. Chapter 194. From today to support Jinchuriki column force 3rd more. Dinner, Gong Yi returned to the laboratory and replaced his eyes. And the skin is affected by the parents. Where possible, he will not replace his own organs. As for Hashirama cell fusion, don't worry about what other people's cells are, and feel sick. When the fusion rate reaches 100%, the body no longer has a rejection reaction, and Gong Yi's own cells can be combined with Hashirama cells. At that time, what Gong Yi has will be his own cell body. Moreover, Senju Hashirama has long since died, and his strength cannot continue to become stronger, and the cell level has been stuck in place. But Gong Yi doesn't. Same. He can continue to improve and keep exercising. His life level, after rising continuously, will definitely surpass Senju Hashirama. After returning to his own eyeballs, he was in a trance for a moment. It seems that the world is no longer so clear, and there is a vague sense of ambiguity. The difference is probably the same as wearing glasses and not wearing glasses. It's a little fuzzy, but it's only fleeting. And Gong Yi prefers this feeling now, familiarity, closeness, everything is natural. Especially when the divine consciousness spreads out and observes all things in the world with divine consciousness, there is no sense of vagueness or alienation. Going back to the top of the house, I looked at the 320 palace belle who was walking and recovering after dinner. Gong Yi thought for a while, maybe he could teach her gentle fist, which would not only help Gong Ling familiarize herself with her body, but also help her improve some of her strength. The three-tailed Jinchuriki column force can't be that weak. Even if there is no tail beast transformation, the master should have enough amazing strength. But that's all for tomorrow. The next day, after finishing all the work, Gong Yi returned home. During the day, Gong Yi basically placed Gong Ling in the secret room. With Gong Ling's current character, give her a few books, some food and water, and she can sit quietly for a long time. Come with me. Yes, master. Gong Ling obediently put down her things and walked out after Gong Yi. The sun sets in the west, and the afterglow is golden. Gong Yi's consciousness swept out and nodded in satisfaction. Long time ago, after the violent beating of Fugaku, there was no surveillance around his house. This is also good, and avoids a lot of trouble. Seeing that his eyes were less dazed and more agile, Gong Yi beckoned. Next, what I do, you do it, and remember the corresponding movements and strengths carefully. With your current physical condition and chakra control, you should be able to record most of the details. Yes, master. Gong Yi smiled, spread out his hands, and made some movements very slowly. Gong Yi is good at taijutsu, especially the Gongquan genre. But that doesn't mean he can't gentle fist. His original subordinate, Hyuga Qianzong, is the Jonin ninja of the Hyuga clan. In the past few years, the Hyuga family's main clan split was as big as imagined, and some main clan secrets could be learned from the split. For example, Hyuga Hazashi will use the revolving heaven of the talented master. After Gong Yi's strength increased greatly and he became the captain, he personally instructed Hyuga Qianzong's physical training. When Qianzong used Hyuga Gentle Fist, his insights and vision corrected many mistakes. Under this kind of training, Gong Yi has actually already fist Hyuga Gentle, almost. The only bad thing is a pair of Byakugan that can see the flow of chakra. The effect of Byakugan is to pinpoint the acupuncture points of the human body and facilitate acupuncture. And all of this, for the super medical ninja Gong Yi who is familiar with the human body structure, there is no difference. Swinging hands, curling fingers, knocking sideways and kicking, both hands like arcs, under Gong Yi's muscle control ability. Gentle fist is deployed one by one, with a slow beauty. A set of fights, Gong Yi's face did not look like Yuhi's breath and he closed his hands. Gong Ling, come and try. Yes, master. Gong Ling blinked, put on a stance, and began to practice this gentle fist according to Gong Yi's previous movements and her own memory. Gong Yi stood aside, watching quietly. After a long time, when Gong Ling stopped and looked at himself expectantly, he nodded. It's still a little rusty, but basically I remember it clearly. You practice again, and I will correct you a few mistakes. Gong Ling obeyed her words and slowly cast Gentle Fist. Gong Yi pointed out a few situations where the force was wrong, and was generally satisfied. I have to say that girls use Hyuga Gentle Fist, which does have a somewhat different beauty. The picture looks pleasing to the eye. If you are fighting with people in close combat, it will give people a cruel and miserable feeling. Thinking of this, Gong Yi just thinks of Hinata. Girl, who was also born at Konoha Hospital, was visited by him at the time. I vaguely remember Hyuga Hiyashi's disappointment after finding out that it was a girl. It is estimated that Hyuga Hiyashi wants to have a boy to inherit the Hyuga clan. Seeing that Gong Ling is almost trained, the next step is watermill time. Gong Yi asked her to stop. How are the books I gave you this morning? Master, I have already written it down. Gong Yi shook his head. It's not for you to remember, but for you to comprehend. First understand these basic knowledge thoroughly, then, I will teach you some corresponding ninjutsu. Before that, Gongling had basically not shown any fighting ability, and only showed medical ninjutsu. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't have talent in this area. Being able to execute dangerous characters with Minato, her own strength will not be too bad, otherwise it will be easy to hold back. And what Gongyi has to do is to try to dig out her talent as much as possible. A three-tailed Jinchuriki column force, if he doesn't know how to fight, he will be ridiculous. Thinking of the miscellaneous things he will teach Gongling next, Gongyi couldn't help laughing. What is this about yourself? In the Hokage world, cultivate the Jinchuriki column power of a human being, and cultivate a Jinchuriki column power from a white paper-like person into a powerful fighting ninja. It's a bit interesting. Seeing him laugh, next to Gongling, the corners of his mouth were also subconsciously raised, and he seemed to be laughing along with him. Owner is very happy. Konoha, or the 5 great ninja villages, is very strict about the information records of ninjas. Only in this way can we ensure to the greatest extent that the village will not be mixed with too many ninjas from enemy villages. Even in order to avoid spies, adoptions of war orphans are mostly under the age of 5. Gongling will be by her side for a long time, usually hiding, but it's nothing. If there is a need for her to come forward to perform tasks in the future, the issue of her identity will have to be reconsidered. But this, for Gongyi, is not a problem at all. He is the director of the Konoha Hospital, where most of the villagers' births and deaths are carried out. The registration of ninja information, as well as the corresponding screening and investigation, must go through his hands. After some operations, Gongling has a decent identity. Hokage are a few elders who are familiar with the situation in the village. Others will never know whether Gongling is a ninja outside the village or the former Nohara Rin. This is also reflected in the original text. For example, Yamato and Sakai. Their identities were not visible from the beginning. When they appeared, Naruto, Sasuke and others did not know that Konoha was still hiding this kind of ninja. Gongyi's trouble is mainly in the matter of giving Nohara Rin a makeover. But after a few days, he also found a solution. Chapter 195. Sage Mode, 4th Update. As for the body familiarity, Master, you've done a great job. Gongyi looked at Gongling with satisfaction, and then changed to today's teaching class. Today we don't learn taijutsu or ninjutsu knowledge, I'll teach you a new thing. Gongling blinked, looking forward to it. 4. A blank sheet of paper. Every day at Gongyi's house is very interesting. There are too many interesting knowledge, let her learn. Every time the master has a good ninja surgery, the master will give praise. She likes this feeling. As if the cat was touched by the owner's fur, showing a comfortable feeling. Move the weak chakra to the cheeks and try to mobilize the facial muscles. Yes, master. Gongling responded with a sound, and then did as Gongyi said. The next moment, Gongyi burst out laughing. Opposite him, a woman with dislocated facial features and an extremely ugly woman stood in front of him. He smiled and walked to Gongling's side, reached out and stroked her face, chakra turned slightly. Gongling blinked, and subconsciously reached out and touched Gongyi's generous palm. Gongyi was surprised. Gongling opened her innocent eyes and looked at him. This should be very performance-dependent. Gongyi shook his head, and after the chakra spread, he withdrew his hand. Gongling's face has returned to normal. He continued, don't push too hard, with your chakra control and body control, you can do it well. So, put your hand on my face, I'll do it again, and you'll do it again. Gongling stretched out her hand, her soft and boneless fingers resting on Gongyi's face. The palm of her hand was slightly cold, with a few wisps of fragrance. Gongyi collected chakra without hesitation and slowly covered his face. Soon, the facial muscles changed, the eye sockets were slightly low, the eyes were long and narrow, the chin became sharper, and the arc of the entire face was elongated by 1%. The originally handsome face has become a little feminine. Narrow hyacinth eyes, thin lips, and a slightly pointed chin. She used to be as rich as a jade, but now she is as feminine as a willow. Gong Ling opened her mouth, a little surprised. Gong Yi smiled. Feel it, like I do. Gong Ling nodded and tried to do the same. Under the control of her chakra muscles, her facial features began to change. The previous Gong Ling had a small round face, as if the flower bones had not bloomed, so cute. Girls are underage, most of them are like this when they don't grow, and there are even some cute baby fat. It's just now. The skin is like fat, the ice and snow are the bones, the eyes are bright and the teeth are clear. Slightly elongated face, evenly distribute the meat of the small round face to other parts. Gong Yi stared blankly at this scene. This is a living little beauty. If the original Nakanohara Rin didn't die young, but lived a few more years, his body became fuller and his face became longer. Will she become such a man's gaze that makes the girl a little shy? Master, is it okay? Gong Yi hurriedly shook his head. No, it's pretty good looking. I'll try to keep it like this in the future. I've tried it, and it consumes very little chakra, and it's not tiring. Gong Ling happily hummed and touched her face, always feeling that it was amazing. There's really nothing magical about it. This is similar to the adjustment of bone density, muscle density, and face shape in martial arts novels, so as to achieve the effect of disguise. After the ninja has chakra, it only needs a little research and enough controllability to do this. It is very easy. It's just that the ninja never thought of it, and most of them went to the direction of learning ninjutsu to enhance their strength. What would you like to eat tonight? Gong Yi asked casually. He was used to it, and after having Gong Ling, he didn't find it troublesome. In fact, when Nohara Rin came to his house to read a book, he also made some interesting and delicious snacks for him. Now things are different, but they will not be unfamiliar. Only this time, Gong Ling's answer made him stunned for a moment. Master, can you teach me to cook? After Gong Yi was stunned, he wanted to ask a question, but he held back. In front of Gong Ling, all he has to do is to play a role that guides the direction of her life and is the only bright role in her life. He didn't need to ask some unnecessary questions, which would lighten the impression in Gong Ling's mind. What Gong Ling added next also explained his curiosity. I want to cook for the master after I learn. Gong Yi was dumbfounded, and after working for a long time, the person he cultivated himself, Jinchuriki Column, headed towards the maid before he started fighting. Okay, I'll teach you how to make cakes first. Well, you like it very much. The kind of critter pastry. Konoha's days were peaceful and happy. At least for Gong Yi. Of course, there will be many undercurrents surging secretly, the situation in various countries, and the movements of major ninja villages. There is no need for him to worry, there will naturally be people who should worry. All he has to do is take care of his 1/3 of his acre of land, and build up his reputation in the hearts of the villagers over time. Especially in the past few years when the baby boomer broke out, he, the hospital director, was really respected by the villagers. This child was born at Konoha Hospital. When the child heard that he was born, he met Director Gong Yi and praised him for his amazing bones, and the future must be successful. Parents will always be very happy to hear these words. After all, Gong Yi is a big man in the village. As for whether the child really achieves in the future, Gong Yi doesn't care much. And in his opinion, self-confidence is always the most crucial point in the growth of ninjas. From parents and relatives, peers and superiors is optimistic, and it is also a very beneficial thing. Who lives in an environment where he is valued by others and raised as a strong man is always better than being isolated and despised by others. Well, except for those with plugins. While doing these things on the surface, secretly, Gong Yi's own strength training plan has never fallen. It took him a few months to finally complete the improvement of the Yin seal. It took longer than he imagined. But also understandable. After all, this is a super ninjutsu that Tsunade of Sanin has painstakingly researched. If you want to improve it to a more perfect level, you must surpass your knowledge, ninjutsu knowledge reserve, and personal strength in order to do this well. The yin seal mainly follows the path of seal, but it has already involved the scope of time and space. This is also the reason why Gong Yi takes a long time. His talent in time and space, for some reason, always makes people feel regretful. If he had a little talent, he might have been able to learn it when Minato taught him Hiraishin. It is much more convenient to walk across the ninja world. Fortunately, the knowledge of time and space involved in the yin seal is not so much. It took a while for Gong Yi to improve it to the point of satisfaction. The sealed space is larger than before, and the strength of the seal is also higher. In this case is enough to store Sage Art Chakra. Sitting cross-legged in the courtyard, Gong Yi breathed in and out, and between heaven and earth, a transparent and invisible Uzumaki condensed above him. That was the scene where the natural energy was absorbed by him and kept pouring down. Gong Yi's body is also gradually changing. The bright white light radiates from the inside out, and the diamond-shaped mark between the eyebrows is like a gem embellishment. Around his body, the gleaming white Sage Art Chakra shrouded him into a white figure. Some snake-like, dragon-like chakra strands stretched out, giving him a touch of mystery. This is Gong Yi's Sage Mode. It's not so feminine, or even disgusting, but it's moderate and peaceful, making it look like a spring breeze. Gong Ling sat next to him, both as a Dharma protector and curious. His eyes were full of joy. Fairy who appeared in countless nights after she woke up. Usually the owner has not shown it, but now, when I look at it, it is even more comfortable than before. It is not surprising that she would feel this way. Sage Mode also requires constant familiarity and constant master to become more and more powerful. Gong Yi's body moved slightly, and the spiritual chakra harness that was winding around him slid to the center of his eyebrows. Like a swallow returning to its nest and a dragon entering the sea. With the disappearance of these Sage Art Chakras, Gong Yi's Sage Mode trembled slowly, and it seemed that it was about to end. But with the influx of natural energy, more and more Sage Art Chakras were born, and slowly returned to calm. In this way, while absorbing and manufacturing, it is sealed and stored. Slowly, inside Gong Yi's yin seal, a lot of Sage Art Chakra has been reserved. When fighting, he does not need to absorb natural energy without moving, transforming Sage Art Chakra. Yin seal is unlocked, there will be a steady stream of Sage Art Chakra flowing out for him to maintain Sage Mode. Just when he was cultivating with peace of mind, his expression suddenly changed slightly. Eyes, he gave Gong Ling a look. Was stunned for a while, then woke up and disappeared in a flash. Just as he disappeared, a man wearing an animal mask appeared beside Gong Yi. Dean Gong Yi, Lord Hokage, please. Well, I'll be there as soon as I finish practicing. Gong Yi nodded and paid a little more attention to the ninja in front of him. Kakashi enter. Chapter 196. The Bird in the Cage. It's me, Dean Gong Yi. Kakashi, wearing a cat face mask, was looking at Gong Yi curiously. That kind of mysterious and powerful feeling, terrifying. He was a little curious, is this the Sage Mode that Minato-sensei said when he was alive? He lowered his head, not daring to look again. Gong Yi said indifferently, let me see your eyes. Kakashi hesitated, thinking of Gong Yi's status and had to raise his head. Gong Yi stared at it for a while, it's okay, the surgery she performed back then didn't make me a teacher. Hearing this, Kakashi's expression moved slightly and his mood was complicated. That, who it means, you know better than anyone else. It hasn't gotten worse, but, Uchiha, have you troubled you over the years? Kakashi said softly, at first there was, but then Minato-sensei came forward to mediate once. After I joined Anbu, the third-generation Hokage-sama pleaded with the Uchiha family for me. There is no Uchiha people thinking about. 3220. Already. Gong Yi nodded, thinking about it regardless. Whether Namikaze Minato or Sarutobi Hiruzen paid a certain price to keep Kakashi's Sharingan. This kind of thing, exposed, is actually a great shame for Uchiha. There is no certain price in exchange for benefits. Kakashi, I don't know when I died outside and my eyes were gouged out. You've become a lot stronger, but you still have to pay attention in the future. Uchiha doesn't care about your eyes anymore, the ninjas in the ninja village outside, but they do care. Kakashi said firmly, I will use my life to protect it. Because it is not only Obito's belief, but also. He didn't say anything after that. Gong Yi released Sage Mode, returned to normal state, stood up and waved his hand. You go back first, I'll be right here. Kakashi left. Gong Yi found Gong Ling on the balcony of the attic. Do you know that person? Gong Ling shook her head suspiciously. I don't know. Gong Yi snorted and said with a complicated expression, his name is Hitaki Kakashi, and he is the Anbu ninja beside the third Hokage. You see him in the future, or wear a ninja of the same style as him, try to hide yourself as much as possible. Yes, master. The books I asked you to read before are almost enough. Next, you try to combine the knowledge in the book to apply related ninjutsu. Be careful, don't be in a hurry, play steadily. Sweetened water style ninjutsu is actually not difficult, you can master it very easily. Yes, master. After instructing these things, Gong Yi left the house, made a few seals at the door of the house, and slapped the ground with his palm. A transparent enchantment emerges spontaneously. There is even a shadow clone with huge chakra energy. Maintain this barrier, and don't let anyone break in. Shadow clone nodded, then sank into the ground, maintaining the barrier with chakra. Gong Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Today is no different than in the past. There are more tailed orcs Jinchuriki column in the family. It is not enough to arrange a few puppets and a few psychic snakes for vigilance. If you want to avoid being intruded into, you must have an enchantment. As for Shadow Clone Chakra, who maintains the barrier, for him, there is no longer any burden. Walking towards the Hokage building, Gong Yi is also awed. 3 generations of Hokage talked to him in the first half of the year. They have called him specially since then, mostly because they met at work. This time, what happened again? When he arrived at Hokage's office, he looked at his feet and was a little surprised. After saying hello, he sat down beside him. Walked in quickly, looked at the two, thought about it, and said, Hiyashi, your request, I can't do it, Gong Yi should be able to help you. Hyuga Hiyashi hesitated for a moment, then handed over his hands and pleaded, President Gong Yi, I would like to ask you to help me, the Hyuga clan, to perfect a ninjutsu. Gong Yi raised his eyebrows and looked at them puzzled. Or in other words, perfect a sealing technique. Once it is completed, in the future, if there is any use for the Hyuga family, Director Gong Yi, just speak up. Hyuga, seal art. Gong Yi is thoughtful. Hiyashi, please talk about the specific situation first. Otherwise, Gong Yi will be at a loss. 3 generations sighed and said. Hyuga Hiyashi nodded and said with a little grief and indignation, I, the Hyuga family, have inherited Byakugan since ancient times. Since Byakugan is a Kekkei Genkei formed by organ mutation, it has the characteristics of being transplantable. Therefore, the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan is coveted by the major forces in the ninja world. A few years ago, after I took office as the Patriarch, I was determined to solve this problem. Later, when Hyuga Thousand Sect Byakugan was captured, I made up my mind and started to implement related plans. After several years of hard work, combined with the blood of my Hyuga clan, a sealing technique has been roughly completed. It only takes a few more years, and it can basically be perfected. It's just that the situation in the ninja world has been turbulent recently. Family ninjas go out to perform tasks, and they often encounter danger. Byakugan is also at risk of being captured. Forcing me, I can only speed up this progress. Gong Yi said abruptly. This technique is called Cage Bird. Hyuga Hiyashi took a deep breath and said, used by main clan for the split, it can avoid split ninjas, perform tasks outside, and have their eyes gouged out. If someone thinks this way, when the Hyuga people die, they will automatically destroy Byakugan in an instant. Sure enough, when it comes to the sealing technique of the Hyuga family, the caged bird is always a topic that cannot be avoided. However, Gong Yi did not expect that he would perfect this sealing technique by himself. He subconsciously looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and remembered what he said earlier. It is impossible for him to shoot. First of all, Sarutobi Hiruzen must be able to seal the art. There is no doubt about this matter. The reason for this phenomenon is actually related to Uzumaki Kushina. Back then, the country of the vortex was destroyed by the war, and the clansmen fled in all directions, and the remnants lived in various places in the ninja world. Uzumaki Kushina was chosen as the next Kyubi, Nine-Tails person Jinchuriki, column force because of Uzumaki Mito's relationship. She is also a noble existence of the Uzumaki clan. After coming to Konoha, he brought a large number of sealed books. After Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina both passed away, these books have naturally become one of the treasures of the Konoha village. In fact, Gong Yi felt that there should be other secrets about the destruction of the Kingdom of Vortex. Absolutely nothing. The war is destroyed, it's that simple. You know, the country of the Vortex and Konoha have been married for generations, and the relationship is quite good. During the Sengoku period, the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan had already started to cooperate. With Konoha as the backing, whoever dares to destroy the country of Vortex or even offend it, it is estimated that they will not dare. However, the result can ignore Konoha and forcibly destroy the country of Vortex. Only the other 4 big ninja villages can join forces to do so, forcing Konoha to stand on the sidelines and turn a blind eye. How can the other 4 major ninja villages join forces, even if they have a tacit understanding? There is enough interest without saying hello, an irresistible condition. The Uzumaki family, sealing. In the First and Second World Wars of the ninja world, there was no tailed beast or human Jinchuriki column force. But with the beginning of the Third War, the shadow of the tailed beast and the human Jinchuriki column force has begun to show its beginnings. 8 tails, 3 tails, even 1 tail who went berserk and injured 3 generations of Kazekage, and Kyubi 9 tails who broke out of the seal, etc. When this happens, it should be that the 4 major ninja villages started to create the force of Jinchuriki column in order to use the power of the tail beast. 1. The 6th sealing technique is the key among the keys. Destroy the kingdom of Vortex, divide the sealing technique, create the power of Jinchuriki column, and use the power of the tailed beast. You Konoha have the power of Kyubi, 9 tails, Jinchuriki column, perfectly seal Kyubi, 9 tails, but our other villages can't. This is Gong Yi's conjecture, but it is absolutely close to the truth. Taking it back, Gong Yi pondered the reason why Sarutobi Hiruzen was reluctant to shoot. He is probably worried that he will bring caged birds to the Hyuga branch, which will cause the villagers to talk about it. The older he gets, the more Sarutobi Hiruzen cherishes feathers. For many things, he knew that doing it was the best choice, but he never took the initiative to do it, and he would never open his mouth to suggest it. These things, he would rather let Danzo, Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, and even Gong Yi take the blame. As for whether Gong Yi is willing to take the blame, the friendship of the Hyuga family is a very good condition. Gong Yi accepted, but before that, he was a little curious. Why did you find me? Chapter 197. The difference between Uchiha and Hyuga. Hyuga Hiyashi sighed and explained again. Our caged bird is a sealing technique that combines medical ninjutsu, sealing technique, demonic illusion, and 5 basic ninjutsu techniques. Among them, demonic illusion guides spiritual power, and medical ninjutsu involves human body structure. Only in this way will Byakugan be destroyed in an instant before the death of the branch ninja, and the enemy will not succeed. However, if this kind of power is not sealed, it will damage the strength of the branch ninja, and even affect Byakugan. So the sealing technique is the most critical part. Gong Yi nodded. It can protect Byakugan from being captured, and it won't affect the strength of the branch ninja, right? 3 generations of Hokage took over. I have studied the front ninjutsu in front of the caged bird, and everything serves this purpose. Minato was alive before. He said that you already have a good attainment in sealing. Presumably now, it is even more different from what it used to be. And you are good at medical ninjutsu. If there is something wrong with the seal, you can also improve it. That's why I recommend you to Hiyashi. Maybe the reason is not only that, but he doesn't say it, Hiyashi doesn't say it, Gong Yi doesn't ask. Because everyone knows each other well. Gong Yi pondered for a while, then agreed. There is no unnecessary nonsense. Hyuga Hiyashi quickly gave Gong Yi the caged bird he had researched for the most part. To let him take it home to study. After returning home, Gong Yi looked at the scroll that recorded the ninjutsu of the caged bird and couldn't help shaking his head. If this ninjutsu is really put on the body of the Hyuga branch family, then what is the difference between it and the beasts raised in captivity? Hyuga Hiyashi is a bit cruel. But a family patriarch, if he is not ruthless, his position will not be stable. There is no emotion to hurt the spring and autumn. Gong Yi started to complete this ninjutsu. For him, studying ninjutsu, supplementing ninjutsu, improving ninjutsu, and even developing his own ninjutsu are already instinctive habits. From this point of view, he is indeed a scholar among the Jonin. At present, apart from the living Orochimaru, and the dead second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama, there are probably not many, like him, who likes to do this. Let's do it. Dr. Ninja, Sarutobi Hiruzen no, he just knows enough ninjutsu. It doesn't mean that he is in the field of research and has any great achievements. Because there is something about improving the yin seal, Gong Yi does these things, and it is not unfamiliar. After just a few days, Gong Yi found Hyuga Hiyashi. So fast. Hyuga Hiyashi swallowed hard, looking at Gong Yi in disbelief. He, the Hyuga family, spent a few years researching and deriving it, and it took a long time to perfect it. However, it only took a few days to hand it over to Gong Yi. Gong Yi smiled and said, thanks to the research of the Hyuga family for several years, I just made some improvements in the eye nerves and the sealing technique, and it didn't take much effort. If Patriarch Hiyashi doesn't believe it, you can ask someone to try it first. After all, the life of the clan is at stake, and Hyuga Hiyashi didn't care that the experiment would make Gong Yi not. Man, he immediately found a sub-family member who was not valued. Start the experiment. When the blue symbol of the caged bird appears, Hyuga Hiyashi asks that clan to refine chakra, use Byakugan, and perform ninjutsu. After a set of procedures, they even sent people to fight with them. A simulation. There is no problem. Hyuga Hiyashi is amazed and smiled bitterly. I didn't expect that Director Gong Yi would have such a high level of sealing skills. If I had asked you a few years earlier, maybe my Hyuga clan would have died a few less. Gong Yi pursed his lips and said nothing. Hyuga family, with main clan, split. Since ancient times, there has been only one main clan. The rest are divided into 2 families. Even if they are brothers from one mother and compatriots, they will be divided into 2 families after selection. But it is said that there is only one person. In fact, not only. Main clan is the descendant of the patriarch, and has the opportunity to become the next main clan. They all belong to the main clan before the cultivation is completed and the real main clan is selected. This can be seen from the fact that Hyuga Hinata and Hyuga Hanabi have no caged bird signs. In this way, I can arrange the seal of the caged bird, and the clansmen can also have less risks that they should not have. Gong Yi said indifferently, instead of, it's a seal, it's better to say it's a spell seal of a bird in a cage. Hyuga Hiyashi's expression was stagnant, a little embarrassed. Sealing, the meaning of banning and severing the curse. The meaning of taking the curse of fate once the bird in the cage is cast. It means being controlled by others, and life and death are in the hands of others. What is the difference between this and the control of the curse? The fate of a lifetime. From the curse seal from the moment it was branded, it was like a bird in a cage, it was doomed. In the end, it was someone who helped him. A little sarcasm, Hyuga Hiyashi only regarded it as a feeling, and did not take it to heart. He bowed his hands and thanked. For this matter, I would like to thank Director Gong Yi. No thanks. But I have to remind you that the caged bird today, although it does not affect the battle of the Hyuga tribe, has a seal after all, which will limit some of Byakugan's abilities. You have to think about it. Gong Yi said with a reminder. If the branch ninjas are all cast the caged bird spell, it means that the strength will be slightly reduced, which will affect the combat effectiveness of the entire Hyuga clan. Hyuga Hiyashi shook his head firmly. A little sacrifice, in exchange for the clan to avoid some coveting, is worth it. Is it worth it? Worth it. Hyuga Hazashi held Hyuga Neji, who was over a year old, in front of the branch family and took a deep breath. Since ancient times, Hyuga has divided the sect into two families. Isn't it just to use the power of separation to ensure that the blood of the main clan will not die and the inheritance will continue? Although the caged bird is cast, the strength will drop slightly. But the overall number of clans has increased, and the overall strength will be stronger. My Hyuga clan will also be stronger. Hyuga Hazashi thought so, but in his heart, he still felt a pity. If the Hyuga clan does not distinguish between the main clan and the family, everyone can learn all the secret arts. Maybe Hyuga will be so powerful. Gong Yi is standing next to Hyuga Hiyashi, looking at the scene outside the house, and he has a similar emotion. The Uchiha family has inherited the Kekkei Genkei, which is similar to the Hyuga, but it has never had the difference of main clan and separation. Even after being taken away by Uchiha Madara with a large number of secret techniques and being constantly suppressed by Konoha, the clan still produces many geniuses. Before, there was Uchiha Kagami who was comparable to the third generation and Danzo, and there was Uchiha Fugaku who opened Mangekyo. The new generation is a genius like Uchiha Shisui. Even next, there are two brothers Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. Hidden in the dark, there are even powerful people like Obito who have a terrible talent for time and space. But the Hyuga clan can stand on the stage, only Hyuga Hiyashi. Even Hyuga Hazashi, who used to look powerful, is gradually unable to keep up with the ninjas of the same generation under the conditions of reduced resources and scarcity of secret techniques. Next generation Hyuga Hinata, the Hanabi sisters, it's just that. The real genius, Hyuga Neji. Talent of 320 is far beyond his peers Sasuke, Naruto, Gaara, etc. But there is no corresponding training resources. What secret techniques, medicinal herbs, strong guidance, etc., he doesn't have any. With his own efforts, he has reached the level of an elite Jonin. However, that's it. If he has been carefully nurtured since he was a child, will he have a cage level? If main clan is not stingy with relevant resources, maybe the Hyuga clan can really compete with the Uchiha clan. Sharingan can evolve Mangekyo, and Byakugan of the same level as him. Could it be that there is not enough base for the strong in the evolution direction? You can't expect a main clan patriarch who is fascinated by power and interests to become stronger. Hazashi, I'm sorry. Hyuga Hazashi raised his head, looked at his elder brother, and shook his head. Don't say sorry, everything is for the family. Hyuga Hiyashi hummed and looked at Gong Yi who was standing in front of the wooden window with his hands behind his back. President Gong Yi, Hazashi is very strong. I will cast the caged bird later, maybe there will be an accident. Please take care of it. The bird in the cage can only be performed by main clan for the division. Gong Yi hummed, and didn't look back, still standing like that. Maybe he didn't want to see this scene. Hiyashi took a deep breath, started hand seal, and cast the caged bird spell. There was nothing wrong with the sealing process, and he was a little fortunate that he didn't hurt his brother. Next is Neji. Hyuga Hazashi beckoned, and Neji, who was more than 1 year old, walked to the front ignorantly. Hyuga Hayashi recovered a little and planned to cast the caged bird. A voice suddenly stopped him. The child is still young, that cyan print is not good looking, give him a childhood without being pointed by his peers. Chapter 198. Everyone's path is different, second. The sun shines in from the wooden window with a light fragrance, and the genial light reflects the young man in black. Hyuga Neji looked at the back ignorantly and grinned. Although Hyuga Hazashi is grateful to Gongyi, but as a Hyuga clan, he still thinks that the chief's intention should be the main thing. Big brother. Hiyashi raised his hand, interrupting Hazashi's words. Looking at Gongyi, he smiled slightly and said, "Just follow the instructions of Director Gongyi. The order goes on, and the children in the clan can only be cast as caged birds when they are 4 years old." Inside, Hyuga Hayashi remembered one thing. When Neji was born, it seemed that Gongyi, who was visiting his home, delivered the birth himself. "If there is nothing else, I will go first. President, please, Hazashi, please send it for me." "No need to send." Gongyi waved his hand and walked outside the house, pausing slightly when passing Neji. He bent down and touched the little boy's head. A cute child who will grow into a handsome ninja who is admired by many girls in the future. It was too cruel to tie a white cloth early, just to prevent people from laughing at the blueprint on his forehead. As for what Hyuga Hayashi said, Gongyi strode away. The 4-year-old child, did he have a childhood before this? Personnel, and even went to war at the age of 5. Childhood, shouldn't it be before graduating from the ninja school? Hyuga Hayashi was still cruel, insisted on his own ideas, and only gave himself a step down. Gongyi and this person are not destined to be friends, maybe they can only be the kind of existences who use each other. Looking at the tall and straight back, Hyuga Hayashi narrowed his eyes slightly. Hazashi hesitated. "Big brother, Gongyi. This child is young and his strength has already reached cage level. If nothing else, when he is an adult, he can do 1 or 2 big things. The position of the 5 generations of Hokage should be none other than him. In this way, my Hyuga clan should get close to him. I don't know if it's right or wrong in my..." Hyuga Hayashi didn't hear his brother's words, but he regretted it in his heart. For the sake of the family, offending Gongyi, but the previous efforts were somewhat in vain. After leaving the Hyuga family's clan, Gongyi went to his own home. When he was about to step into the territory of the palace, several dark shadows passed by. Gongyi glanced up. "Stop!" Exclamation mark quote. The shadows stopped instantly, and then they jumped up and respectfully came to Gongyi's side. "Dean Gongyi." Looking at these Hokage Anbu ninjas, Gongyi frowned. "If you don't stand beside Lord Hokage, why are you traveling in such a hurry?" The leader hesitated for a moment, thinking of Gongyi's status, and made a decision. "The border change, Lord Hokage sent us to execute. The content of the task was not explained, because you leaked the secret, even if the other party was Gong." Gongyi hummed, without blaming the other party, and let them go. After they left, Gongyi frowned. Border movement. Other villages can't sit still. The 3 wars, as well as the Kyubi Nine-Tails rebellion, the Sanin village was interspersed in the middle. Konoha's strength has been greatly damaged, and other villages have changed, which is normal. There was no situation in the past 6 months, but other villages were still in a wait-and-see state, or asked for information. Now someone can't sit still. Konoha's eventful season is coming again. Might Guy stood under the tree and shouted loudly at several people on the tree. "Asuma, what are you doing? Hee, Guy, do you want to come and see?" Asuma didn't speak, but Ebisu beside him grinned and said with a wink. Might Guy looked at the Konoha hospital behind him, In a daze, he jumped up and jumped onto the tree. I said, "What are you all doing climbing trees? It turns out to be looking at girls." Might Guy only glanced at the Konoha hospital, and when he saw the crowd of people inside, he understood what his friends were doing. Today is the day for the hospital's assessment. The medical ninjas selected and trained in the past 2 years will be assessed in batches today. Once the assessment is passed, next, they will be assigned to various task teams. Yabisu said excitedly, "If I assign a big beauty to my team, then I will not be far from solving the single problem. Your sunglasses seem to be specially made, and they have a telescope effect." Moonlight Hayate, holding a branch in his mouth, asked curiously. Ebisu propped up his glasses and smiled without explaining, but that smile already explained everything. There is nothing happier than seeing the faces of the girls in the hospital clearly. Might Guy grunted twice, not knowing what's the fun in dealing with troublesome women. He looked at Asuma, who was holding a cigarette but didn't light it. "I said you're not an adult." Tenten smokes. "Doesn't Lord Hokage beat you?" Speaking of the 3 generations of Hokage, that is, his father, Asuma's face darkened slightly. "He doesn't have time for me, and don't keep linking me to him. I'm Asuma, he's Hokage." 3 generations of Hokage are always looking after their young son, even though they seem strict on the surface. But in fact, in various tasks, there is his concern. However, all this, in Asuma's view, he will always be like a little child. Someone mentions him, they always remember first that he had a father who was the Hokage of Konoha village, not his own career. Konoha Special Jonin, Sarutobi Asuma. Yes, Asuma, who is 14 years old, became Chunin 3 years ago, and not long ago, he became a Special Jonin because of a mission. Only 1 step away from the real Jonin. Although Kakashi is a long time behind Gongyi and Kakashi, he is indeed working hard step by step. "I want to rely on my own efforts to get the approval of others, rather than bear the title of Hokage's son." Might Guy doesn't understand this. His father was ridiculed all his life, he never enjoyed the convenience of doing things in his father's name. When Might Guy shines, it's only for a moment, he can't enjoy it even more. He just asked curiously, "Asuma, I heard that you signed up for the daimyo's 12 guardian ninjas." Asuma hummed, looking a little excited. Once selected, he can leave Konoha and make his mark on his own. And around the daimyo, he also has the ability to display his talents. He believed that when he returned to the village, he would definitely come back under the name of the excellent Jonin Sarutobi Asuma. Might Guy scratched his head. "Are you going to?" The wind, who had recovered from the moonlight, lowered his head. After Obito and Rin died, Kakashi disappeared all day long. Yuhi returned home to be nurtured by her father's demonic illusion. Yugao is practicing hard, just to join Anbu of Lord Hokage. Shizune left with Tsunade. "Sama, if Asuma you also leave, our classmates of this class." Might Guy is no longer so happy. He is focused on exercising, and he also finds that there are fewer and fewer friends he can chat with. Even Aburame Kaiway spends all day in the hospital and it is difficult to meet each other. Suddenly, cheers came from the hospital, but they were suppressed again in an instant. Might Guy looked over and said happily, "It's the captain, Captain Gongyi, he came out. Well, now that I have become a dean, I seem to be even more powerful." Everyone looked over, one by one, with a bit complicated expressions. Gongyi, also their classmates in the same class. Everyone has their own path to go, don't think too much about it. Now the situation in the village is not very good, even the daimyo have to recruit guardian ninjas, so everyone should pay more attention. "I'm leaving first." Asuma jumped off the tree, drank a cigarette, and left a little recklessly. Chapter 199. Village of Blood Mist 3rd. "Dean, this is the 5th batch of students, do you need to look at the list?" Aburame Kaiway methodically put out the roster to Gongyi's face. She used to be still young, but now she can be considered to be on her own. Although she is still only Chunin, she is young, she has worked in Konoha Hospital for a long time, and now she is a ninja that Gong Yi trusts and uses very well, except Eri Yi. After all, he was a disciple trained by himself. Gong Yi smiled at her and waved his hand. Don't look at it, let them start. Hundreds of people, it will become a mountain and a sea. The fifth batch of medical ninjas has 150 people, and most of them are civilian ninjas. This is what Gong Yi did intentionally. The major families will bind him for profit, while the commoner ninjas need to gain reputation in other ways. For example, train them. With an order, the medical ninjas who were ready to accept the assessment began to do it one after another. On the long table in front of them, there were live small animals. Every ninja took a kunai and cut a knife on the small animal, and blood spurted out. This scene looks cruel, but this is a necessary scene to cultivate medical ninjas on a large scale. Konoha doesn't have so many experiments on human beings, so give them hands-on training. Chakra began to circulate, hemostasis for small animals, and then the most basic healing technique. Gong Yi sees it very clearly when it comes to rebuilding the medical system. Must follow the plan he made with Namikaze Minato, step by step, no rush. It's easy to train 1 or 2 Jonin-level medical ninjas, but the village doesn't have that many resources. To be effective in the early stages, it is the key to train a group of genin with basic medical ninja qualities. 4. This batch of ninjas under assessment, Master S most basic 320 hemostasis technique, healing technique, is enough. The follow-up medical ninjutsu, learning too much at one time will affect their strength growth. Need a certain self-protection ability to perform tasks with the team. Gong Yi walked along the aisles of long tables, surrounded by young ninjas. Maybe it's because of Gong Yi's handsome looks, or maybe it's his legendary experience over the years, or there are other factors. Whenever he walked by, there were always some female ninjas who were not so peaceful. Error, or a mess. Gong Yi's expression didn't change, but he just walked over one by one. 150 people 150, say less is not much, say more is not much. Moment, the examination was over. Next, there will be a special hospital ninja to judge the recovery of the small animal's injury and give the assessment result. Gong Yi came to Aburame Kaiway and pointed to a few people. Find out their names, relevant information, and send them to my office. Aburame Kaiway nodded and said with a smile, Teacher, these few people have training value. Well, very talented, not only the ability to control chakra, but also the restraint in one's own emotions. Gong Yi said lightly, he just walked over, in fact, he deliberately released a part of his spiritual power. With his enormous mental power, even a part of it will give these genins energy to Kamui pressure. In this situation, they can be orderly and not chaotic in their busy schedules, which is enough to show their talent. Cultivate it well, you can become the backbone of Li. His eyes swept across the crowd, and he looked at those anxious flowers and moon faces, solemn. With the blessing of chakra, his voice reached the ears of everyone present. Today's assessment, I am very satisfied with your learning progress, but I am also not satisfied with your on-the-spot response. This is just an assessment without responsibility and pressure. If in the mission, on the battlefield, your team members, or captains, are injured. With the performance of some of you today, perhaps your team is not in enough shape to fight. Don't think that simple hemostasis and healing won't work. Perhaps your companion just need you to restore the mobility of key parts to him, and he can complete the mission or escape from the enemy's pursuit. Gong Yi no. Speaking fast or slow, some ninjas have a slight yuhi in their eyes, they are the part that doesn't perform well. Some ninjas are thoughtful and know that their master's medical ninjutsu is actually very important. Some other ninjas looked excited. Although the dean did not name them, they performed well and should have been seen by the dean. After Gong Yi finished speaking, he simply nodded and entered the Konoha hospital. For other ninjas, there will be special personnel to publish the assessment results. And someone has been waiting. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the scene in front of the hospital square with satisfaction. His own disciple, Tsunade, also implemented this plan. It's just a pity that it was abandoned halfway. Now that he can see Gangyi picking it up and doing it better, he has no reason not to be happy. Nara Shikaku said softly, what Gangyi and the fourth generation Hokage insisted on doing was something that was troublesome at the beginning. Now, it seems that the initial results have been achieved. If it persists for a few more years, the Konoha Ninja Squad will greatly improve its mission completion rate and survival rate. The whole village will benefit from this. He sighed, it's really two very good young people. Words, if Minato is still around, then Konoha is really lucky. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head, don't be so nostalgic. Minato died for the village, and he did his best. Gangyi is also working hard, waiting for the next generation. When the generation grows up, Konoha is still the same. The most powerful Konoha. Nara Shikaku nodded. Gangyi's performance really exceeded many people's expectations. He did, in fact, no worse than Namikaze Minato. The dead will always have more weight. The door was pushed open with a squeak, and Gangyi walked in with a calm expression. Hokage-sama, Shikaku, sensei. Busy. Nara Shikaku pursed her lips and pointed downstairs. Gangyi smiled slightly, it's almost done, I picked out a few seedlings, and they are worthy of cultivation. But that's all for the future, and now we have to look at the present. 3 generations of Hokage took a breath and sighed suddenly. Yeah, it depends on the moment. In the triple room, the atmosphere is a little bit condensed. After a long while, the 3rd generation said slowly, Gangyi, what do you think about the current situation? Gangyi said directly, you and Shikaku, sensei must have discussed it, and what I heard from you is. Sandai shook his head, no, I'd rather hear your opinion. After all, you are now a representative of the younger generation, and your words, to a large extent, represent their thoughts. Gangyi pondered for a while, then spoke slowly. In my opinion, Iwagakure is powerless to fight, and Sunagakure village has lost the support of the great name of the Land of Wind. Currently, it can only follow the elite training route, and there is no way to intervene in Konoha. So there are only 2 parties to worry about. Kumogakure and Kurigakure. Shikaku applauded, and said, you see it right, the 2 villages that are currently rubbing against us on the border are these 2 villages. Gangyi continued, although Kumogakure fought against Iwagakure village, 3 generations of Reikage died. But Reikage of the 4th generation is not weak at all, I have played against him, this person has great potential, and once he grows up, he will definitely be as strong as Minato. Nara Shikaku wondered, is it that strong? 3 generations at this time, gave an explanation. The Reikage line of Kumogakure has always been held by the strongest in the village. His ability to become a village shadow at a young age is enough to explain everything. And Killer Bee. Killer Bee. Gangyi and the 3 generations said in unison. Both smiled alike. Gangyi said solemnly, I have played against the group before, and the 2 of them cooperate so skillfully that they are almost like one person. When I fight with them, I have to be careful not to let them make a concerted move. And not only that, Killer Bee seems to have reached the point of mutual understanding and spiritual communication with the tailed beast. Last time, if Tsunade, sensei didn't show up and Killer Bee turned into a beast, I might have had a hard time beating them. Gangyi is telling the truth, he played against the group last time. He really didn't let the 2 of them make a joint move, and at that time, he really couldn't find a way to face Killer Bee who turned into a tailed beast. Both Sarutobi Hiruzen and Nara Shikaku were in a heavy mood. The village's Jinchuriki column force is still a baby under 1 year old. If you want to resist the opponent's Jinchuriki column force. But the 2 of them looked at Gangyi, but they felt a lot more at ease. Gangyi has a strong record against Kyubi, Ninetales, although only for a short time, but it is enough to suppress Killer Bee. If the fourth generation of Reikage really came forward, then Sarutobi Hiruzen would be willing to cut him and pull him off his horse. But Gongyi suddenly raised his voice and said with narrowed eyes, compared to Kumogakure's upright and bright, Kurigakure village is now more and more mysterious. I'm very worried about this. Kurigakure village. Now it has the name of Blood Mist Village. Phylou reminds you. 3 things to read, collect, push and watch the latest chapter. Baidu search 99 Playmate find 99 Novel Network and LT. Please keep this segment, otherwise the collection of IP is prohibited. Chapter 200. Naruto Sasuke. In the village of Kurigakure, since the death of the third generation of Mizukage Tsuji Dozuki, Karatake Yagura took office as the fourth generation of Mizukage. In the early days, Yagura also followed the ruling philosophy of the third generation of Mizukage, and even joined forces with Kumogakure to attack the village of Iwagakure to avenge the third generation of Kazekage. But somehow, halfway through the fight, they retreated inexplicably. This move forced Kumogakure village to withdraw and did not dare to forcibly attack Iwagakure village. In Kurigakure village, the whole village implements the policy of seclusion of the village. The village has been closed for a year now, with little communication with the outside world. During this time period, Kurigakure powerhouses defected from time to time. According to these, missing nin said, the fourth generation of Mizukage Yagura, in the village to persecute the strong family that owns the Kekkei Genkai. For a time, the entire Kurigakure village was shrouded in a penetrating shadow. The outside world calls it the village of blood mist. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, this time the border changes. Kurigakure village. Our ninjas are often ambushed when they go to the land of water, or to cities near the land of water, and many people have been killed. I suspect the move was done by ninjas from the village of Kurigakure, and maybe there was a signal from the top. Gongyi frowned. They want to start a war. Perhaps, it is to find something to divert domestic conflicts and release the boiling grievances of the people into the war. Nara Shikaku analyzed it again. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Gongyi looked at each other and nodded. There is some truth to Shikaku's analysis. Since ancient times, if the contradictions in the village cannot be resolved, then provoking a war with the outside world, through war, and twisting the hearts of the people into a line, is undoubtedly the best solution. Works fast. And, they have enough reasons. If it wasn't for the dark blue demon of Konoha who forced his way into the village of Kurigakure and seriously injured the 3 generations of Mizukage, how could Kurigakure have lost to Iwagakure on the battlefield, and even lost our respected 3 generations of Mizukage, Sama? Reasons, if you really want to find them, you will definitely be able to find a lot of them. No one will doubt how much the so-called hatred between the major ninja villages in the ninja world is. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath, looked at the two and said, I have dispatched Anbu Ninja to go to Kurigakure village to collect information, and we will know the general situation in a few days. 3 people 3 chatting here, basically it is almost the same. When Sandai and Shikaku were about to leave, Gongyi suddenly reminded one thing. In the land of rain, it seems to have been too peaceful recently. Eyes of the 3 generations flickered, and Nara Shikaku nodded lightly. After the 2 left, Gongyi sat back in his chair and closed his eyes in deep thought. It comes to the information about the rain country, it's not really Gongyi's credit, but Danzo did his best here. Basically, small countries between big countries have never had real peace. Even during the peaceful period of the ninja world, their own country is always in a state of infighting and many factions. There are many reasons for this situation, but it is definitely the factor that there are big countries to sow discord and support the spokesperson. There is no room for others to sleep on the side of the couch. Now the country of rain is more and more calm, and there is a faint trend of rain coming. If someone really dominates the country of rain, combined with a Megakure village and many hidden missing nin powerhouses in the country, then such a force will be right next to the country of fire. Of threat is self-evident. The answer Gongyi can think of is actually only one point. Akatsuki. After a day's work, Gongyi didn't leave, but waited at the door of the hospital. While Sakurai Ariyi walked out with a child in her arms. "Give me Naruto." Wei smiled and handed the child in his arms to Gongyi. Giggle. He saw Gongyi. Naruto laughed and reached out to grab Gongyi's chin. The corners of Gongyi's mouth, slightly upturned, the cyan stubble on his chin has begun to appear as a young man's beard. This means that he is on his way to adulthood. And now the thing that can stop Gongyi from going to higher power is only age. The two chatted while walking down the streets of Konoha. Most of them are hilly talking and Gongyi listening. The men are tall and straight, the women are sexy and slender, and people on the street will pay attention from time to time. When they saw that it was the hospital director Gongyi and the director Wei, they all showed respect. I saw the child in Gongyi's arms, most of them had mixed feelings. The EPUB Nine-Tails rebellion is almost a year away from now. The Konoha villagers still haven't forgotten the pain. Even said that the EPUB Nine-Tails rebellion hit Konoha harder than the wars during the Third World War. Countless houses were destroyed, and countless ninjas, civilians, and countless others died tragically under EPUB Nine-Tails. And all of this is caused by the monster inside that child. Naruto seems to be able to walk. Wei suddenly said. She pursed her lips, and smiled. At home, once I didn't pay attention, Naruto walked over to pick up the bottle and drink it. Oh yeah. Gongyi raised his eyebrows and tried to put Naruto on the ground, supporting his small body. Sure enough, Naruto staggered a few steps, staggered and stumbled, but he was indeed able to walk. The physique of the Uzumaki clan is stronger than most of the physiques in the world. After all, Naruto's mother, Uzumaki Kushina, didn't die on the spot after EPUB Nine-Tails was pulled out. There is even spare energy to recast adamantine sealing chains, trapping EPUB Nine-Tails. Looking at Naruto as a toddler, Gongyi seems to be able to see the future. A lively teenager who loves to play pranks. In this life, with himself and Wei, his childhood may be much better. As for the gazes of others, Gongyi couldn't stop it. But at least, I'm already worthy of Minato. Just when his thoughts were flying, Naruto suddenly stumbled 2 steps forward, looking at a child in front of him excitedly with big eyes, showing a close look. Mom, my brother seems to be able to walk. Yeah, you also started running at home at this time, and Sasuke should learn to walk too. The boy's crisp voice and the young woman's gentle and graceful words entered Gongyi's ears. He looked up and saw a woman walking beside him, and a 5 or 6-year-old child was holding a child about the age of Naruto, walking on the road. Dean Gongyi. Gongyi smiled slightly. You are. I'm Uchiha Itachi. I saw you when you came to the school to give a lecture. Uchiha Itachi. The other, his younger brother, is Uchiha Sasuke. Gongyi subconsciously looking at the 2 children under his feet. Naruto was walking towards Sasuke curiously, but Sasuke looked at him quietly. Dean Gongyi, are you off work? Gongyi slightly warily, even though she said hello, she was still cautious. Gongyi nodded. This should be Fugaku's wife and a pair of children. From this point of view, Fugaku is actually a winner in life, with a beautiful wife and a talented son of the 2 dragons and phoenixes, and he also holds the power within the clan. If you keep yourselves safe, your life will be very happy. You are. Itachi is out of school. I brought Sasuke to the village to buy something, and dropped by to pick up Itachi. This child. Ariyi hugged Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, I adopted. Uchiha Makoto snorted, just looking at Naruto's eyes, full of curiosity. Ninjas at Konoha Hospital, adopting children, is normal and not surprising at all. After all, people often die in hospitals, and sometimes new lives are born. After some children were born, their parents died, and the ninja in the hospital couldn't bear it, so they adopted them. Just the name Uzumaki Naruto seems to be EPUB Nine-Tails people Jinchuriki column force. Come on, go home. Gongyi said lightly, and nodded to the three of Uchiha Makoto. Naruto was lying on Erika's shoulder, staring wide-eyed, still looking at Sasuke behind him excitedly and curiously. That there is something about Sasuke that is attracting him.